Chapter 979. After obtaining the Azura Source Stone and the Azura Ancient Palace, Shu Chan's strength would definitely increase by leaps and bounds. In addition to the billions of Shunbi provided by Shi Yingwu, the strength of the entire Northern Snow Empire would increase exponentially. At the same time, Long Yu, Xing Fa, and Yu Hanxin had also come up with a plan. It was about time to expand the territory of the Northern Snow Empire. The expansion of the Empire's territory would bring more geniuses to the Empire. In the future, they would be able to serve the North Snow Empire. In addition, the wider the Empire's territory, the more cultivation resources would be produced, which would be of great help to the Empire's development. As for the direction of expansion, was there still a need to say it? Of course, it would be the three empires that were neighboring the Northern Snow Empire and had relied on combat emperors to repeatedly invade the Northern Snow Empire and restrict the development of the Northern Snow Empire. The Shenluo Empire, the High Clouds Empire, and the Tianqin Empire. These three empires were probably still dreaming of annexing the Northern Snow Empire, and Long Yu was naturally not going to give them any time to react. The Shenluo Empire's imperial family, the High Clouds Empire's imperial family, and the Tianqin Empire's imperial family must all be wiped out. As for the other forces in the three empires, those who dared to resist would naturally be killed without mercy. The Northern Snow Empire wanted to expand, but it naturally couldn't let these unstable factors continue to exist. It would take a long time to occupy and stabilize the three empires, but it wasn't difficult to first clean up the three empires' imperial families. Without the support of a combat emperor, the three empires' imperial families were simply too weak to withstand a single blow. Long Yu and Shi Yingwu headed to the Shenluo Empire. In less than 2 days, they directly wiped out the Shenluo Empire's crown prince and the other combat emperor lackeys stationed in the Shenluo Empire, leaving no survivors. As for killing, Long Yu was already very familiar with it. As long as it was an enemy, why couldn't he kill it? In the Shenluo Empire, Long Yu had even met the daughter of the city lord of the city of Desolate God, Sidu Lioli. This woman had also stepped into the emperor realm, but unfortunately, she was no match for Long Yu. Long Yu definitely wouldn't leave such a hidden danger alive. Even though Sidu Lioli had knelt down and begged for mercy, she was still killed by Long Yu without any mercy. This method caused the entire Shenluo Empire to fall into a state of panic. After all, no one in the entire Shenluo Empire could deal with Long Yu. However, the good thing was that Long Yu only targeted those who had offended him in the past and the royal forces of the Shenluo Empire. He did not care about anyone else, which made the other forces of the Shenluo Empire feel relieved. Very soon, the army of the Northern Snow Empire was stationed in the Shenluo Empire. As Long Yu had previously wiped out the royal forces of the Shenluo Empire, coupled with Long Yu's cruel methods, the Shenluo Empire had no resistance against the Northern Snow Empire's annexation. Many generals of the Shenluo Empire expressed their loyalty to the North Snow Emperor, Yu Hanxin. Thus, the entire Shenluo Empire was incorporated into the territory of the Northern Snow Empire. In addition, Xing Fa and Dao Jingtian were in charge of the Tianqin Empire and the Clouds Empire respectively. In less than 2 days, they wiped out the royal forces and were then annexed by the Northern Snow Empire. In a short period of time, the forces of the three empires were wiped out, and all of them were taken over by Yu Hanxin. What followed was a series of very complicated administrative matters. Long Yu did not need to pay much attention to such matters. He only knew that the Heavenly Mandate Manor and the Shura Manor had finally expanded. Among them, the Heavenly Mandate Manor was moved to the territory of the original Shenluo Empire. A large piece of land was carved out, and the Heavenly Mandate City was prepared to be built. The Heavenly Mandate City would become the central city of the Northern Snow Empire in the original Shenluo Empire. In other words, the Heavenly Mandate Manor would manage a place as large as the original Shenluo Empire, and Yu Shaoyin, Yu Linfeng, and Nailan Jun would be in charge. As for Shu Chan, She brought the people of the Shura Manor back to the Tianqin Empire to start building the Shura city, which would rule over the original territory of the Tianqin Empire. The Shura city would also become one of the 4 major cities under the rule of the Northern Snow Empire. It would be the existence to manage the original territory of the Tianqin Empire. In addition to the Heavenly Mandate City and the Shura city, there were 2 other major cities in the Northern Snow Empire. They were the original Northern Snow Empire capital and the Red Emperor city that Xing Efei and Dao Jingtian were about to build in the original territory of the Cloud Empire. The Red Emperor city was managed by Xing Efei and Dao Jingtian. The original intention was to cherish the memory of the Red Emperor. After all, the Red Emperor was now cultivating in outer space, and it was very likely that they would never see the Red Emperor again. The Red Emperor city was the 4th major city of the Northern Snow Empire. These would be the 4 major cities of the Northern Snow Empire in the future. Moreover, there was a teleportation array between each city. These teleportation arrays could be connected to each other, and it was exactly the same as the teleportation arrays that the Alliance of 5 Emperors had built throughout the Shenwu world. Now that Long Yu had comprehended the mark of the underworld, it was completely easy to build these teleportation arrays. The 4 teleportation arrays were connected to each other, and they only needed to consume a certain amount of space divine symbols and exotic beast crystals to directly activate the teleportation arrays. In this way, the 4 cities could complement each other. If any other force wanted to attack any of the cities, they would have to face the full defensive power of the 4 cities. It could be said that after the 4 cities were built, the entire Northern Snow Empire would be like an iron bucket, impregnable. While the Northern Snow Empire was busy expanding, Long Yu and Shi Yingwu were finally ready to set off to explore the Shenwu realm core with the geniuses of the forces from beyond the heavens. Before this, the Saint Emperor and the other 3 emperors had investigated and confirmed that the Battle Emperor had indeed died in the ancient ruins. After consulting with the people from the Lushan clan from beyond the heavens, they announced that the elegant woman who had challenged the Red Emperor would replace the Battle Emperor and become one of the new 5 emperors, with the title of Cloud Emperor. The death of the Battle Emperor, the ascension of the Cloud Emperor, and the death of the people from the Battle Emperor's faction in the ancient ruins, as well as Hu Pingwen's death in the Northern Snow Empire. At this moment, the overall strength of the Alliance of 5 Emperors could be said to have dropped by a large margin. But for the Alliance of 5 Emperors, cultivating strong fighters was never a difficult task. It wouldn't take too long for their overall strength to recover to its previous level. Regarding the death of the Battle Emperor, there were undoubtedly people who were shocked, some who felt pity, some who were gloating, and some who were extremely excited. Countless people wanted to know who was so powerful that they could kill the Battle Emperor. However, even the sovereigns of the Lushan clan from the outer heavens couldn't find out who killed the Battle Monarch. This was because the palace where the Battle Monarch died was completely blocked off from all divinations. With the existence of the ruler's secret realm, it was impossible to recreate the scene. So the Lushan clan attributed the death of the Battle Emperor to the traps in the ancient ruins. Otherwise, there was no way to explain this phenomenon. After all, as one of the 5 emperors, the Battle Emperor was definitely the strongest existence in the Shenwu world. Who else could kill him? As for the people from beyond the heavens, there was no need for them to try and kill the Battle Emperor. It could only be said that the Battle Emperor's death was in vain. Besides people like Long Yu who knew the truth, no one else would know how the Battle Emperor died. In the history of the Shenwu world, the Battle Emperor was probably the first of the 5 emperors to die such a humiliating death. Not to mention, he didn't even manage to sit in the position of the 5 emperors for more than 2 months before he died. He could be said to be the most tragic person in the Shenwu world. However, who told the Battle Emperor to be so arrogant and despotic to the point of wanting to wipe out the Red Emperor's former forces? For him to end up like this, he couldn't blame anyone but himself. On this day, outside the holy city of the 5 emperors, the 5 emperors, led by the Saint Emperor, gathered together, including the Demon Emperor, the Flame Emperor, the Lay Emperor, as well as the elegant woman who had just replaced the Battle Emperor, the Cloud Emperor, were all preparing to depart. The 5 emperors were about to bring the strongest king realm cultivators and the top 10 emperor realm cultivators to explore the Shun Wu world's core. At the same time, it was also a chance for the forces from beyond the heavens to choose. During the exploration of the Shun Wu world's core, if the forces from beyond the heavens took a liking to any of the 11 people, they could directly take them away and train them as geniuses from beyond the heavens. However, it wasn't that easy to catch the attention of the forces from beyond the heavens. At the very least, out of the 11 people, only 3 could possibly catch their eye. Number 1, Emperor Realm, Long Yu. Number 2, Emperor Realm, Yi Ziwei. Number 3, Emperor Realm, Yu Hanxin. Number 4, Emperor Realm, He Dao. The Saint Emperor was reading the list, but when she got to the 5th name, she paused. Then, she glanced around and felt a little strange. Number 5, Emperor Realm, Heavenly Prison Thunder Emperor. Why isn't he here today? She remembered that the Heavenly Prison Thunder Emperor had participated in the 2 previous explorations of the Shenwu world. But now that she thought about it, the Heavenly Prison Thunder Emperor seemed to have disappeared after the strongest Emperor Realm cultivator ended. The Heavenly Prison Thunder Emperor is an ascetic from beyond the heavens. Although I don't know why he isn't here. If that's the case, this spot can be filled by someone else. The Saint Emperor thought to herself. Then she said, Heavenly Prison Thunder Emperor, the 5th Emperor Realm cultivator, isn't here. Let Taiwu Suxin, the 11th Emperor Realm cultivator, take his place. Inform the Taiwu Empire and ask Taiwu Suxin to report to the holy city of the 5 emperors today. Yes, immediately. A member of the alliance of 5 emperors received the order and prepared to inform Taiwu Suxin to come. Long Yu and Shi Yingwu were sitting leisurely. Seeing that the Saint Emperor had actually asked Taiwu Suxin to replace the Heavenly Prison Thunder Emperor, Long Yu couldn't help but frown. Long Yu had always been concerned about the disappearance of the Heavenly Prison Thunder Emperor. After all, the Heavenly Prison Thunder Emperor was related to the whereabouts of his father, Long Zitian. But until now, he hadn't been able to see the Heavenly Prison Thunder Emperor. Now that the Saint Emperor had said this, it meant that even the 5 emperors hadn't seen the Heavenly Prison Thunder Emperor during this period of time. Where did the Heavenly Prison Thunder Emperor go? No one in the entire Shun Wu world knew. Then, the Saint Emperor continued to read out the list. From 6th to 10th, they were Ji Kaoyang of the Alliance Merchant Company, Melody of the Water Moon Sword Sect, the Saint Emperor's personal disciple Qi Qingxi, the Flame Emperor's personal disciple Si Kong Hui, and the genius of the Su Medicine Hall, Su Jianbai. Chapter 980. For the trip to the realm core of divine martial arts, only the 5 emperors and 11 other people were participating. However, besides the Heavenly Prison Lightning Emperor, Yi Ziwei wasn't present as well. However, the 5 emperors didn't say anything about it, because Long Yu had already informed them beforehand that Yi Ziwei had already been brought to the outer world. Of course, the 5 emperors did not say anything. What they did not know was that it was not the Lushan clan that took Yi Ziwei away from outer space, but the Lushan clan's archenemy, the Juyo clan, to go to the realm core of divine martial arts. Long Yu could do alone. However, at this time, he could not go alone. He had to go with the 5 emperors. A total of 15 people were teleported to the realm core through the sacred tower in the 5 emperors' holy city. The teleportation formation near the realm core of divine martial realm was built in a special layer of space. Normally, this place wouldn't be open to the public. Only after the competition between the strongest king realm and the strongest emperor realm would a group of people come here to teleport to the realm core of divine martial realm. With a flash of light, the 5 emperors, Long Yu, and the other 15 people crossed the endless void and finally appeared in a distant corner of the realm of 9 serenities. Before Long Yu opened his eyes, the mark of 9 serenities in his body had a strong feeling because the realm core of divine martial arts had appeared near him, and it was very close. From this distance, Long Yu could clearly feel the existence of the realm core of divine martial arts, and he could faintly feel the flow of energy in it. Long Yu had a strong premonition that he could obtain something very useful from the realm core of divine martial arts. What did the Juyo Dragon Emperor leave behind here? I'm really looking forward to it, Long Yu thought to himself. However, the others around him did not think the same. When Long Yu and the others opened their eyes, they saw a pitch-black, endless void. In this void, an incomparably large planet floated in mid-air, slowly rotating. Long Yu was no stranger to the shape of such a planet because he had seen countless pictures of planets before he was reborn into this world. However, for Yu Hanshin, Black Knife, and the others who were born and raised in this world, such a huge planet was extremely shocking. Even Emperor Yun, one of the newly appointed 5 emperors, was witnessing such a scene for the first time. His eyes were filled with shock. When we first saw the divine martial arts realm nucleus, we were just as shocked as you were. The sacred emperor saw everyone's expression and smiled. This is only one of the 7 great magics of the former martial arts almighty. If your martial arts realm can reach the level of that almighty, I'm afraid the small world in your body will be even more spectacular than this. After all, the owner of the realm core of divine martial arts is already dead. Even Long Yu was shocked when he saw the planet that occupied his entire field of vision. However, he soon discovered that there was already a group of hundreds of martial cultivators next to the planet of the realm core of divine martial arts. Those must be the forces from beyond the heavens. The sacred emperor led everyone toward those people. Soon, the distance between the two sides was so close that they could see each other's expressions. Finally, a few people flew out of the crowd and greeted the sacred emperor and the others. It's about time. Everyone is here. In that case, let me introduce everyone. A bald-headed middle-aged man with a kind face glanced at the sacred emperor and the others, then smiled and said, I'm Yi Yang from the human race, the Lushan clan, the 1st Heaven Division. I'm afraid you still don't understand. Outside of the small world that you live and cultivate in is the true realm beyond the heavens. In the realm beyond the heavens, the human race is considered a large clan, and the Lushan clan is one of the 99 clans of the human race. Overall, they are extremely powerful. It was us, the Lushan clan, who worked together to build the holy tower on the mainland of the divine martial arts realm, as well as the teleportation portal to the realm nucleus of divine martial arts. The bald-headed middle-aged man, Miyang, spoke in a very kind manner and treated everyone well. From his words, everyone understood a very important fact. The small world where the divine martial arts realm was located was indeed ruled by the Lushan clan, and the 5 emperors were only chosen by the Lushan clan to manage it. The Lushan clan had built the holy city of the 5 emperors. The Lushan clan had established the alliance of 5 emperors. The Lushan clan had built the central holy tower, and so on and so forth. It was clear that the overall strength of the Lushan clan was extraordinary. And the 1st Heaven Division, to be honest, is at least ranked in the top 3 among the 12 Lushan clan clans. We are one of the main clans of the Lushan clan. The bald-headed man, Miyang, squinted his eyes. If any of you are chosen, why don't you join the 1st Heaven Division? We will definitely provide you with the best cultivation conditions and nurture you all the way to the ruler's secret realm. This meant that the 1st Heavenly Division was trying to recruit them. However, everyone knew that if they wanted to join the 1st Heavenly Division, they didn't just need to choose the 1st Heavenly Division. They also needed the 1st Heavenly Division to think highly of them. The entire Lushan clan had a condition for selecting geniuses. Only after passing this condition would they have the right to join the 1st Heaven Division. After the bald-headed man, Miyang, a man with long purple hair, flew up. This man had an evil look on his face, and there was a gloomy aura in his eyes that made people feel uncomfortable. But just like bald-headed Miyang, this man with long purple hair was also a being at the level of the 7-star emperor. I am Xian Yongji from the Symbol clan. The Symbol clan is also one of the top 3 clans of the Lushan clan, and our overall strength is a bit stronger than the First Heaven Division. Welcome to the Symbol Clan. The Symbol Clan's secret technique, the immortal purple blood, is very powerful. Look, as the purple-haired man spoke, a demonic expression appeared on his face. Then a purple light flashed, and his head was chopped off. This scene gave everyone a fright. What was this Xian Yongji trying to do? But soon, Xian Yongji's body glowed with a purple light, and his head was reattached. He still had that evil smile on his face as he said, "Do you see this? This isn't an illusion. It's the effect of the immortal purple blood. If you cultivate the immortal purple blood, you'll have more lives." Everyone was dumbfounded. Even Long Yu didn't expect Xian Yongji to put on a show to attract everyone's attention. That's right, it was a show. Otherwise, what else could it be called? Long Yu knew that the immortal purple blood consumed a lot of energy to repair the body, and reattaching the head consumed even more energy. Xian Yongji had put on a show just to attract everyone's attention. Was there something wrong with Xian Yongji's brain? Of course, from this, it could be seen that the Lu Shan clan valued the geniuses very much. They really wanted the chosen geniuses to join their clan. Finally, a beautiful and tall woman dressed in a long, flowing dress walked toward the crowd. This woman's face was extremely beautiful, and her skin was rosy. She was extremely attractive to any man. "My name is Zhua Banyan, and I'm from the Hidden Sword Division of the Lu Shan clan," the beautiful woman said to the crowd shyly. The Hidden Sword Division is the #1 clan in the Lu Shan clan. Everyone, please consider choosing the Hidden Sword Division. As soon as she finished speaking, her entire body turned into a ray of sword light and flew away. Such a beauty was actually just an incarnation formed by a ray of sword light. As for Zhua Banyan herself, she did not move even half a step in the distance. This kind of cloning technique wasn't too shocking. Even Long Yu was able to congeal many primordial afterimages. However, to be able to congeal an incarnation with such rich expressions, and to be able to speak in such a moving manner, this was the first time everyone had seen such a thing. The Hidden Sword Division was the #1 clan in the Lu Shan clan. The First Heaven Division and the Symbol Clan were the second and third clans in the Lu Shan clan. Their strength seemed to be on par with each other, and it was difficult to tell who would win. There were more than 300 people who came from outer space to explore the realm core of divine martial arts. Among them, only about 100 came from these 3 clans. The rest came from other clans or even other clans. The Lu Shan clan was not the only clan in the human race. There are 99 clans. Although the realm of the Netherworld was under the rule of the Lu Shan clan, other clans were also qualified to follow and explore the realm core of divine martial arts. Among them were a few cultivators from the Juyo clan. Through the mark of the Netherworld, Long Yu sensed that the cultivators from the Juyo clan had all comprehended the divine script of the Netherworld at the origin level. However, they did not notice Long Yu. After all, Long Yu was cultivated by Consort Yu alone. Of course, she would not tell the public. After all, the more people knew, the more likely it was that the secret would be leaked. If the Lu Shan clan knew that Long Yu had the mark of the Netherworld in his body, he would not be able to live past today. The people from other clans had nothing to do with Long Yu and the others. If they were chosen, they would definitely be taken away by the people from the Lu Shan clan. The people from other clans were only here to explore the realm core of divine martial arts and improve the strength of their inner world. The realm core of divine martial arts was filled with endless inner world energy. After exploring it, almost everyone's inner world could be expanded a lot. Long Yu was also looking forward to this trip. If he could expand his inner world in the realm core of divine martial arts to a certain extent, he might be able to step into the Emperor realm. It wasn't that easy to step into the Emperor realm. The most important thing was to comprehend the power of deduction. However, Long Yu had a clear understanding of the power of deduction since a long time ago. After he'd grasped 5% of the 9 nether mark, he'd understood many things related to the power of deduction. It could be said that everything was natural. The benefits that the mark of the Netherworld brought to Long Yu were not only the ability to control the Netherworld, Chapter 981. A total of 485 people gathered outside the realm core of divine martial arts. After they gathered, the beautiful girl from the Lushan clan's Hidden Sword Division introduced the situation of the realm core of divine martial arts to everyone. The realm core of divine martial arts is actually a planet formed by an extremely dense heart realm energy. It's divided into 3 layers: the surface layer, the inner layer, and the deep layer. The closer you are to the core, the denser the heart realm energy will be. We're here to explore the realm core of divine martial arts to find the heart realm energy that we can absorb to strengthen ourselves. For cultivators who haven't reached the sovereign arcane realm, the heart realm energy in the realm core of divine martial arts is a great supplement. After we enter the realm core, we mainly need to find the heart realm crystal. We can't absorb the heart realm energy that forms the realm core of divine martial arts. Only the heart realm crystal can be absorbed by us. The bigger the heart realm crystal, the more pure the heart realm energy it contains. In the outer layer of the world core, the heart world crystals will only appear in the small and medium-sized form. In the inner layer of the world core, the middle-sized and large-sized heart world crystals will appear. As for the deeper layer of the world core, I'm sorry, but no one from our Lushan clan has ever been able to enter it, not even sovereign realm experts. The heart realm crystal will condense again after a certain period of time. Therefore, the Lushan clan will organize an exploration of the realm core of divine martial arts every 7 years. Most of you have paid a small fee to get this opportunity. Now work hard. The more heart realm crystals you obtain, the greater your reward will be. After the beautiful girl from the Hidden Sword Division, Zwa Banyan, finished speaking, everyone had a deeper understanding of the realm core of divine martial arts. In any case, they just needed to enter the realm core to find the heart realm crystal. The entire realm core of divine martial arts was made of gaseous heart realm energy. It wasn't a solid existence. Inside the realm nucleus of the divine martial arts, there are no walls, no floor, no ceiling, and nothing else. There is only a boundless thick fog formed by the mind realm energy. However, the heart realm energy wasn't something that just anyone could touch. Even a 7-star imperial monarch would only be able to persist for a short period of time after entering the divine martial realm's core, and it was even to the extent that they wouldn't dare to enter the depths of the core. Normally, cultivators below the level of emperor could last around 7 days in the outer layer of the world core, while cultivators at the level of emperor could last around 7 days in the inner layer of the world core. Among the more than 400 people who came to the realm of divine martial arts for the exploration, more than 400 of them were at the same level as the emperor. Therefore, most of them were going to the inner layer of the realm core. As for those who came from Shenwu world, they could only explore the outer layer of the world core. However, even on the surface of the boundary core, there is a possibility that a medium-sized heart realm crystal would appear. The effect on them was very obvious, and this was an opportunity for everyone. The reason why so few people from Shenwu world were qualified to come here was because the realm core of divine martial arts could only produce a limited amount of heart realm crystals every 7 years. So the forces from beyond the heavens had to try their best to satisfy their own people first. It's about time. Let's move around freely. Those who want to enter the realm core of divine martial arts can go in now, and those who want to rest outside can as well. However, be careful not to stray too far away from this space, or else unexpected dangers might occur. After all, we, the Lushan clan, are still researching this 9 Serenities realm. The beautiful girl Zwabanyan pursed her lips and smiled, then took the lead and flew towards the realm core of divine martial arts. The reason why there wasn't a ruler's secret realm cultivator leading the team was because ruler's secret realm cultivators didn't need the heart realm energy anymore. But Zwabanyan came here to find an opportunity to break through to the ruler's secret realm from the realm core of divine martial arts. She was the 7-star emperor, so of course she would go to the inner layer of the world core first. When Zwabanyan started moving, the others didn't want to fall behind, except for a few people who was willing to waste time outside. All of them flew towards the realm core of divine martial arts from different directions. Long Yu and Shi Yingwu moved together again, flying towards the realm core of divine martial arts. The closer they got to the realm core of divine martial arts, the stronger the 9 serenities mark in Long Yu's body felt. Inside the realm core of divine martial arts, there was definitely a treasure that Juyo Dragon Emperor had prepared beforehand. This made Long Yu look forward to this trip a lot, and he only hoped that there wouldn't be too much of a commotion. As for the others from the divine martial world, such as Yuhan Xin, Black Blade, Ji Kaoyang, Aqua Moon Melody, and the others, they all split up. Yuhan Xin and Qi Qingxi formed a team. Taiwu Xin and Aqua Moon Melody formed another team, and Ji Kaoyang and Black Blade formed another team. All of them entered the realm core of divine martial arts in pairs. The reason why they teamed up was to avoid any danger, but it wouldn't be good if there were too many of them, because the amount of heart realm crystals they could find was limited, and it wouldn't be easy to divide them up if there were too many of them. Long Yu and Shi Yingwu quickly flew into the realm core of divine martial arts. The outer layer of the realm core. This was a relatively thin layer of heart realm energy, but it was only relatively thin. As soon as Shi Yingwu flew in, she felt the dense heart realm energy around her exerting a kind of pressure on her. I don't feel this kind of pressure. Hearing Xiangwu's feeling, Long Yu slightly frowned and said, "Looks like it's because of the 9 nether mark in my body. Does that mean I can stay in the realm core of divine martial arts for as long as I want? I might even be able to enter the deepest layer of the realm core, or even the core." Long Yu didn't think too much about this for the time being. Instead, he brought Shi Yingwu along and began to sense the heart realm crystals scattered throughout the realm core of divine martial arts. What made Long Yu happy was that he could actually sense the location of the heart realm crystals within the realm core of divine martial arts with a 9 nether mark. For exploring the realm core of divine martial arts, this was equivalent to a great advantage. The others had to fly around randomly to search for the heart realm crystals, but Long Yu only needed to probe first and then directly fly towards the location of the heart realm crystals. In comparison, Long Yu's efficiency was not just a little bit faster than the others. Long Yu wasn't worried that he would be discovered, because once he entered the realm core of divine martial arts, everyone's detection divine abilities would be greatly suppressed, and they would almost be unable to sense the situation more than 10 zhang away. As for their naked eyes, even some divine abilities that strengthened their eyes wouldn't allow them to see anything, because the entire realm core of divine martial arts was completely dark. Soon, Long Yu and Shi Yingwu found a medium-sized heart realm crystal together. It was the size of a fist, and it contained a very dense heart realm energy. Under Long Yu's insistence, Shi Yingwu was the first to absorb the heart realm energy within the heart realm crystal. As Shi Yingwu absorbed the dense and pure heart realm energy, her aura finally rose bit by bit. After 2 hours, the entire medium-sized heart realm crystal was absorbed by Shi Yingwu, and she finally broke through to the mid-stage Emperor realm. "Big brother Long, the next heart realm crystal belongs to you," Shi Yingwu said happily. "No, it's still yours." Long Yu shook his head and said with a smile, "You heard what Zhubanyan said. The heart realm crystal in the realm core of divine martial arts can't be taken out of the realm core. Otherwise, it will be destroyed, and the power within will disappear." In other words, the heart realm crystal can only be absorbed in the realm core of divine martial arts. However, Xiao Wu, you can only stay in the realm core of divine martial arts for 7 days. These 7 days are very precious, so you must make good use of them. After listening to Long Yu's words, Shi Yingwu had no choice but to nod. She knew that Long Yu had the 9 nether mark, so he might not be suppressed by the power of the realm core of divine martial arts. That was why he could stay in the realm core of divine martial arts for as long as he wanted. If that was the case, there was no need to be anxious. Everyone else only had 7 days to explore the realm core of divine martial arts. However, Long Yu didn't have this restriction. Moreover, Long Yu didn't need to rely on others to leave this place. Therefore, he planned to wait for everyone to leave before slowly exploring the realm core of divine martial arts. As for the 7 days now, he would first help Shi Yingwu improve her strength. Relying on Long Yu's sensitive ability to sense Heart Realm crystals, he quickly led Shi Yingwu to two small Heart Realm crystals floating on the surface of the realm core of divine martial arts, and let Shi Yingwu absorb them. However, the pure power of the Heart Realm contained in the small Heart Realm crystal was less than 1/10 of the power of the medium Heart Realm crystal. After absorbing the two Heart Realm crystals, Shi Yingwu didn't make any progress except for the expansion of her inner world a little. But soon, Long Yu sensed the position of the other medium Heart Realm crystal. "Let's go. There's a medium Heart Realm crystal about 100 miles away." Long Yu immediately called Shi Yingwu to go with him. With the 9 Serenities mark, his ability to sense Heart Realm crystals wasn't limitless. The closer the Heart Realm crystal was, the clearer he could sense it. Secondly, at the same distance, the larger the Heart Realm crystal was, the more Long Yu could sense it. Simply put, Long Yu could sense the small Heart Realm crystals within a radius of 10 miles and the medium Heart Realm crystal within a radius of 100 miles. The medium Heart Realm crystal 100 miles away was, of course, something Long Yu was determined to get. However, when Long Yu flew over with Shi Yingwu, he found that there was a cultivator from outer space who had just arrived at the location of the Heart Realm crystal. Almost at the same time that Long Yu found that person also found Long Yu. Among the outer space forces, only young men wanted to fight for the opportunity to explore the realm core of divine martial arts. Therefore, this person was no exception. He was a skinny young man with a gloomy face, and his cultivation was at the peak of the Emperor realm. "Get lost!" The skinny young man from outer space shouted at Long Yu in almost an instant. Then he flew toward the medium Heart Realm crystal not far away without hesitation. Chapter 982. Long Yu scowled as he watched the young prodigy appear and try to steal the medium-sized Heart Realm crystal. Shi Yingwu pulled on Long Yu's sleeve. "Brother Long, let him go. After all, it's easier for us to find the Heart Realm crystal. Not to mention he's a peak emperor and a prodigy from beyond. He might have some tricks up his sleeves. If we try to steal it by force, we might not be able to." Long Yu also nodded. Shi Yingwu was right. Although Long Yu was confident in his own strength, his opponent was a prodigy from beyond. If it was a peak emperor from Shunwu world, Long Yu might consider it. But against a prodigy from beyond, Long Yu was too lazy to deal with him. First of all, there was no benefit in dealing with him. It was only a medium-sized Heart Realm crystal. He could easily find another one. Second, with Long Yu's current strength, he might not be able to deal with him. So, Long Yu wanted to take Shi Yingwu elsewhere to look for it. But just as he turned around, the gloomy-looking young man finally held the medium-sized Heart Realm crystal in his hand. Instead of absorbing it, his eyes flashed with a dark glint as he chased after Long Yu and Shi Yingwu. "What does he want?" "Ha! I don't want to mess with you, but that doesn't mean I'm afraid of you." Killing intent flashed in Long Yu's eyes. He didn't attack just now because he didn't want to cause any trouble. But now, it seemed like the other party wanted to attack him and Shi Yingwu. As the saying goes, the one who strikes first gains the advantage. Long Yu didn't think that the other party flew over just to chat with him. And in that split second, Long Yu could already feel the other party's killing intent towards him. If that's the case, there's nothing else to say. Let's fight. A prodigy from beyond? Although it's not the first time I've met one, it's the first time I've faced one directly. Long Yu thought to himself as he sent Shi Yingwu far away. Then, he stayed behind to stop the extraterrestrial prodigy. The sinister-looking young man flew over and waved his hands. In an instant, several pitch-black blades flew through the air. They were actually darts condensed from divine characters. Each of these darts possessed terrifying destructive power. However, this method was useless against Long Yu. Fallen Dark Star, 8 trigrams suppressing heaven. Long Yu first condensed dozens of fallen dark stars and directly destroyed the weak points of the pitch-black darts before activating the 8 trigrams heaven suppression he had secretly set up just now. 8 beams of light of different colors rose from the surface of the realm core of divine martial arts and enveloped the Outlander genius, completely suppressing him. When the gloomy young man felt the power within his body being suppressed by the 8 trigrams suppressing heaven, his expression changed. First grade divine chains. As expected of an Outlander genius, he could tell the level of the technique Long Yu was using at a glance. It was obvious that this technique wouldn't be able to suppress his opponent for too long. However, Long Yu didn't plan to give his opponent too much time. He immediately summoned the ancient dragon skeleton tower. Dragon skeleton break. The giant ancient tower spun at high speed. Even the surrounding heart realm energy was stirred up into a whirlpool, which swept toward the suppressed, gloomy young man. Boom! The ancient dragon skeleton tower passed through and instantly sent the gloomy young man flying. The guy was caught off guard and was suppressed by the 8 trigrams heaven suppression. His entire body was smashed into several pieces. It's that simple? Long Yu frowned. Even a peak emperor from the divine martial arts world wouldn't be this simple, right? This kid, however, just as Long Yu was thinking that, the body of the person that was smashed into several pieces suddenly flashed with a purple light, which immediately alerted Long Yu. It was the undying purple blood, the young genius of the Symbol clan. Without any hesitation, Long Yu raised his hand and activated the 9 Abyss Divine Formation. 9 pitch-black cracks extended from all directions and slammed into the glowing purple body of the gloomy young man. The regenerative ability of the undying purple blood was terrifying. In just 1 or 2 breaths' time, the young man would be able to recover to his peak state. However, Long Yu didn't even give his opponent that much time. In just an instant, the power of the divine formation and the 9 abysses arrived with a loud rumble. Every pitch-black crack completely annihilated that person's physical body. Even the flickering purple light was extinguished at this moment. The entire pitch-black space was once again restored to complete darkness. Following that, a mirror appeared at the place where the young man was destroyed. Long Yu went forward to take it away. He couldn't help but feel a lingering fear when he realized that it was an Archean Supreme rank combat weapon. An Archean Supreme rank combat weapon that didn't even seem to be compatible with the young man. It was definitely a terrifying item. Long Yu being able to kill the young man by catching him off guard was purely an accident. The young man was to blame for underestimating his opponent too much. He didn't even have the chance to use any tricks before he was instantly killed by Long Yu. He wanted to revive, but was once again destroyed by Long Yu with an even stronger attack. If the young man still had consciousness, the only thing he would feel would be hatred. So much hatred. To die at the hands of an Emperor Realm brat. He didn't expect Long Yu to be able to counterattack so quickly. He originally thought that with his strength, he would definitely be able to kill this so-called genius in a single strike. Not to mention that his opponent was a few ranks lower than him, who knew that in the end, he would be easily killed by Long Yu. In fact, although Long Yu had killed his opponent so easily, Long Yu had also used his strongest attack, and it was a surprise attack. Otherwise, if the young man had used this supreme rank Archean mirror combat weapon, or used some kind of Emperor Realm divine ability or powerful martial skill, Long Yu wouldn't have been able to defeat him. Let's go. Long Yu glanced at Shi Yingwu, who was flying towards him, and brought her away from the place. He also took the middle-sized heart crystal that the young man had just obtained. Brother Long, you're really amazing. I'm afraid that Brat will regret his actions in the underworld. Just now, Sunset Dance had been in a state of complete nervousness. She had not expected Long Yu to kill that young man in an instant. This had happened too quickly. She found it hard to believe that she had just faced a genius young man from beyond the heavens. Don't be careless. Let's go. We'll find a place to absorb this middle-sized heart crystal first, then we'll look for other heart crystals. Long Yu said with a smile. Long Yu's heart finally calmed down. Although he had killed the young man from the Symbol clan, no one else would know about it. This was because the divine martial realm core was the same as the Grand Palace where the sacred relic of the Earth God clan was stored. It was shielded from all space and deduction abilities. In fact, the divine martial realm core's shielding was even deeper than the Grand Palace's. Anything that happened inside the divine martial realm core would never be known by outsiders. It didn't take long for Sunset Dance to absorb all of the mid-sized heart crystal. Her strength had taken a huge leap forward as well. She did some quick calculations and realized that she needed at least 7 more mid-sized heart crystals to reach the late stage of Emperor Realm. Only half a day had passed, and Long Yu had found 2 middle-sized heart crystals. There were still 6 more days left, enough for Shi Yingwu to advance to the late-stage Emperor Realm. However, if Long Yu wanted to break through to the late-stage Emperor Realm here, he would need at least 100 middle-sized heart crystals, or he could go to the inner layer of the realm core to find a large heart crystal. A large heart crystal would probably be equivalent to 10 middle-sized heart crystals, right? Long Yu didn't know yet, and he couldn't go to the inner layer of the realm core with Shi Yingwu, because Shi Yingwu could only stay there for a few hours. After all, she wasn't an expert on the same level as the Emperor, so it was better to just explore the outer layer. After Long Yu killed the young genius from a Symbol clan, he didn't run into anyone else. The realm core of Divine Martial Realm was just too big. More than 400 people flying, and was like a bunch of ants falling from the sky into the ocean. The chances of them running into each other were very low. Of course, this was only the situation on the surface. Since the realm core of Divine Martial Realm was a sphere, the chances of running into other people were much higher if they went deeper into the inner layer, or even the deeper layers. Another important reason was that almost all the people from beyond the heavens had gone to the inner layer, and there were only a few people wandering around on the surface. Therefore, it was even less likely for Long Yu and Shi Yingwu to run into each other. The remaining 6 days passed by quickly. Over the course of 7 days, Long Yu had found a total of 16 medium heart realm crystals for Sunset Dance. Including the first 2, he now had 18 medium heart realm crystals. In addition, there were also more than 40 small-sized heart realm crystals. With all these, Shi Yingwu stepped into the late stage of the Emperor Realm and became an existence on the same level as Long Yu. However, it wouldn't be easy for Shi Yingwu to break through to the Emperor Realm, and Long Yu's next goal was to break through to the Emperor Realm. At the beginning of the 7th day, Shi Yingwu flew out of the realm core of Divine Martial Realm alone. As for Long Yu, he flew deeper into the realm core of Divine Martial Realm. Along the way, Long Yu might encounter other martial practitioners from beyond the heavens who came out from the inner layer of the realm core of Divine Martial Realm. Therefore, he used balance control to cover all his aura and didn't want anyone to discover his existence. As expected, on the 7th day, which was the longest time most martial practitioners could stay in the realm core of Divine Martial Realm, some martial practitioners from beyond the heavens at the level of Emperor passed by Long Yu one after another, ready to leave the realm core of Divine Martial Realm. Unfortunately, none of these people could find any trace of Long Yu. Even those who were stronger than the 5-star Emperor couldn't detect Long Yu, because they were in the realm core of Divine Martial Realm, because their senses were not sharp enough. The outer layer of the realm core has been cleaned up, and more than 400 people at the level of Emperor are exploring the inner layer of the realm core. After 7 days, I'm afraid there won't be anything left. Since I'm not affected by the power of the realm core of Divine Martial Realm, I might as well go straight to the inner layer of the realm core. Long Yu quickly made up his mind and flew toward the inner layer of the realm core of Divine Martial Realm. At this moment, near the boundary between the inner layer and the inner layer of the realm core of Divine Martial Realm, a beautiful girl was unconscious. If someone came here, it would be easy to find that this girl was the leader of this operation from the Liu Shan clan's Hidden Sword Department, so Banyan. Chapter 983. Long Yu flew at top speed in the pitch-black Divine Martial Realm's core. Along the way, he saw at least 10 Emperor's experts from beyond the heavens. However, none of these experts were able to discover Long Yu. As for the other 400 people, they should have left the Divine Martial Realm's core from different directions. After all, the Divine Martial Realm's core was a mass of heart realm energy. It could be entered and exited from any direction. There was no fixed entrance. Long Yu kept going deeper into the divine martial realm's core. After half an hour, he reached the inner layer from the outer layer. After another 4 hours, the heart realm energy around his body became denser. If Shi Yingwu was here, she wouldn't even be able to last 2 hours. However, Long Yu didn't seem to be affected at all. I should be reaching the inner layers soon. I'm afraid I'm about 10,000 miles away from the divine martial realm's core. Long Yu couldn't help but sigh. The divine martial realm's core was really vast. It was as big as a planet. Just as he continued to move forward, he suddenly discovered that in front of him, where the heart realm energy was denser, there was an unconscious young girl. Zhuobanyan? Long Yu frowned. He could feel that Zhuobanyan had already entered the inner layer of the divine martial realm's core. It was also the place she said that even the ruler's mystic realm experts couldn't enter. He didn't know if this beautiful young girl, Zhuobanyan, had entered the inner layer of the divine martial realm's core on her own, or had drifted in while unconscious. It wasn't Long Yu's intention to leave her in the lurch. In any case, it wouldn't take long. Long Yu directly grabbed Zhuobanyan's soft arm and pulled her backward. Soon, she was back in the inner layer of the divine martial realm's core, out of the inner layer. Although there was only a thin line between the inner layer and the inner layer, the pitch-black heart realm energy in the inner layer was more than 10 times denser than the inner layer. No wonder even the ruler's mystic realm experts couldn't enter the inner layer of the divine martial realm's core. The heart realm energy was too corrosive. Fortunately, Zhuobanyan seemed to have just drifted in and didn't suffer any serious injuries. She's being corroded by the heart realm power. Why don't I try and see if I can absorb the heart realm power from her body? Long Yu frowned as he looked at Zhuobanyan, who was still in a daze. He then activated the 9 nether mark and prepared to absorb the realm of mind within her. Long Yu had no idea what was going on with this woman. However, he had a good impression of this woman, so he decided to help her. If it had been the purple-haired Xian Yongji of the Symbol clan, Long Yu would have been too lazy to help. As expected, with a single thought from Long Yu, the heart realm power that had invaded Zhuobanyan's body began to be continuously absorbed, and Zhuobanyan's originally pale face gradually became rosy again. Cough, cough. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, Zhuobanyan suddenly coughed and opened his eyes with extreme alertness. As soon as she opened her eyes, she sensed that Long Yu was right next to her, as if he was doing something for her. After carefully sensing, she realized that Long Yu was actually helping her absorb the heart realm power that had invaded her body. It was because the heart realm power was too thick that she fainted. At this time, Zhuobanyan couldn't believe that she was saved by a brat from Shenwu world. If it weren't for Long Yu, she was certain that she would have lost her life to the divine martial realm core today. "You're awake, what happened?" Long Yu saw that she had woken up and asked. At the same time, Long Yu's entire mind was on high alert. If the other party wanted to attack him, he wouldn't hesitate to activate the First Heaven Tribe's Crane Lord puppet. Although this Zhuobanyan had the strength of the 7-star Emperor, she had already been in the divine martial realm core for almost 7 days. In another 4 to 6 hours, she would definitely die. As long as the Crane Lord puppet could delay her, Zhuobanyan would die without a doubt. It was because of this trump card that Long Yu was willing to take the risk to save her. After all, if Zhuobanyan's personality was good, then this could be considered a huge favor, a life-saving favor. This would definitely be of great benefit to Long Yu when he reaches the Beyond Heaven world in the future. What made Long Yu relax was that Zhuobanyan didn't act immediately after waking up. Instead, she observed her surroundings and breathed out in relief. "Thank you for saving me, little brother." Zhuobanyan's face was slightly flushed, and she felt a little uncomfortable with Long Yu being so close to her. "I wanted to break through to the sovereign realm here, but I didn't expect to absorb too much heart world energy. If not for your help, I'm afraid I'll be dead by now." Speaking of which, how did you manage to absorb the heart world energy that was corroding my body? Long Yu had already thought of an excuse. This kind of thing was easy to explain. However, before Long Yu could say anything, Zhuobanyan waved her hand. Forget it, forget it. You're only a late-stage Emperor Realm cultivator, but you were able to come here. It's obvious that you have some secrets on you. I won't ask you anything. In any case, Banyan will remember the favor of saving my life. If you need anything in the future, feel free to look for me at the Hidden Sword Division. This is my token." As soon as she finished speaking, she took out a token shaped like a dagger. The back of the token had the words Zwa Banyan carved on it. Long Yu accepted the token. He didn't reject it. After all, he wasn't a saint who didn't want to repay kindness. "Do you have time to go back?" Long Yu asked. "I should be able to." Zwa Banyan sensed the condition of her body and nodded her head. "I've gained a lot this time. I should be able to enter the sovereign secret realm after entering seclusion. However, if not for you, I'm afraid I wouldn't have been able to keep my life. Thank you again." Then we'll part ways here." Long Yu nodded, after which he unleashed the 6th level of balance control, completely enveloping his aura. After that, he crossed the boundary and stepped into the depths of the world core. Zwa Banyan was stunned for a moment. When she realized that Long Yu had disappeared from her sight, she couldn't help but click her tongue in wonder. "This Long, you must have a lot of secrets. However, this has nothing to do with me. I should hurry back and enter the sovereign secret realm as soon as possible." Zwa Banyan thought to herself. She turned around and flew towards the exit of the world core. Long Yu didn't know what kind of luck he had. How did he manage to save a beyond heaven's genius? In addition to the heavenly crane's words, Long Yu had connections with a lot of beyond heaven's geniuses. Whether it was the heavenly crane or Zwa Banyan, their positions in the heavenly division and hidden sword division were definitely not low. Long Yu shook his head and didn't think too much about it. At this moment, he had already entered the depths of the world core. This was a place that even sovereign secret realm experts couldn't enter. It was a secret place that had been kept secret for many years. After flying for a few dozen li, Long Yu discovered a lot of large heart world crystals. They were about 200 li away from him. 3, 4, 5, so many. In the depths of the world core, there were large and medium-sized heart world crystals everywhere. Long Yu was overjoyed. With this, it wouldn't be hard for him to break through to the sovereign secret realm. With the existence of the 9 Nether Mark, as well as the power of creation that Long Yu comprehended in the 9 Nether Black Palace, he wouldn't encounter any bottlenecks in his cultivation all the way to the sovereign secret realm. The only difficulty was to upgrade all 7 of his innate abilities to the Emperor Path. This would require a lot of treasures. On top of that, it would require special treasures that contain the power of creation. Only treasures that contain the power of creation or a few unique pills that can increase a cultivator's understanding of innate thaumaturgy. Such opportunities are extremely rare and precious even in outer space, let alone in Shenwu world. Long Yu felt that it would be extremely difficult for him to improve his innate abilities. The chances were slim, so he might as well focus on mastering the 9 Nethermark first. Of course, now that he was in the depths of the world core, Long Yu's priority was to break through to the Emperor realm. Then, he would head to the center of the world core and explore what kind of cultivation resources Geo Dragon Emperor left behind. While Long Yu was exploring the depths of the world core and absorbing the heart world crystals, Zwa Banyan from the Lushan clan's hidden sword department finally left the boundary of the divine martial realm core. She noticed that most people were already waiting outside. As soon as she appeared, all the discussions stopped, and almost everyone turned to look at her. After all, she was the leader of the expedition to the divine martial realm. "Miss Zwa, you're finally out. If you were any later, I would have thought that you would never come out again." The purple-haired man from the Symbol clan, Xian Yongji. His words were filled with sarcasm, but Zwa Banyan didn't take him seriously at all. Instead, she looked up at the 10 geniuses from the Shenwu world. Xiangwu, Yuhan Xin, Black Blade. Everyone had gathered together and were anxiously waiting for Zwa Banyan's arrival, because now was the time to decide if they were qualified to go to outer space to cultivate. Before Zwa Banyan arrived, Xian Yongji and Baldy Mi Yang didn't dare to act recklessly. Now that Zwa Banyan had returned, the selection of geniuses could begin. Among the crowd, the most eye-catching one was undoubtedly Shi Yangwu. Before entering the divine martial realm core, Shi Yingwu was only an early-stage emperor realm. But now, Shi Yingwu had consolidated her late-stage emperor realm cultivation, increasing her cultivation by 2 levels. This was how the Lushan clan judged who was more talented. Apart from Shi Yingwu, everyone else had only increased their cultivation by 1 level. Most of them didn't even manage to increase their cultivation by 1 level. After all, it was not easy to find the Heart World crystals. Without a doubt, whether it was Baldy Miyang from the First Heaven tribe or Xian Yongji from the Symbol clan, both of them had set their eyes on Shi Yingwu and wanted to take Shi Yingwu away. "You're Shi Yingwu, right?" Zhuo Banyan glanced at Shi Yingwu and smiled. "Are you willing to join our hidden sword department?" Chapter 984. Of course, Shi Yingwu did not want to leave. She wanted to leave with Long Yu. Therefore, when she heard Zhuo Banyan's invitation, she could not help but frown slightly. Then, she whispered, "Can I choose neither? I don't want to leave this place for the time being." Her words caused an uproar. Zhuo Banyan did not have much of a reaction, but First Sky Tribe's Mi Yang and Symbol Clan's Xian Yongji suddenly became excited. "Why don't you want to leave this place?" Baldy Miyang was a little surprised and asked in a friendly tone, "If you want to say goodbye to your friends and family here, you don't have to stay here. As long as you leave with us, you can choose your friends and family to leave with you. Of course, the number of people can't exceed 10. I'm sorry, I have more than 10 friends here. I think, when I have enough strength, I will leave this place. When that time comes, I will definitely look for you." Shi Yingwu shook her head and said. Xian Yongji of the Symbol clan's long purple hair floated slightly behind his back. There was a hint of evil in his eyes. "Little girl, you really don't want to leave with us? You should know that there is no future in this small world. But if you leave with us, you will obtain countless cultivation resources. It is not impossible for you to reach the Sovereign's secret realm." "I'm sorry, I really don't want to leave. Can I?" Shi Yingwu felt that Zhuo Banyan was easier to talk to. She looked at Zhuo Banyan pitifully. "Since you don't want to leave, then forget it." Zhuo Banyan smiled faintly and waved her hand. In her heart, she had guessed that perhaps this little girl liked Long Yu. Since Long Yu hadn't left, she didn't want to leave either. Since that was the case, she would help this little girl out. "Zhuo Banyan, what are you saying?" Xian Yongji of the Symbol clan's face fell. "Our tribe sent us to this small world to select geniuses. Now, you are actually letting her go? If your Hidden Sword Division doesn't want her, my Symbol clan will. If any of you dare to touch Shi Yingwu, I, Zhuo Banyan, will not be polite." Seeing that Xian Yongji did not agree, Zhuo Banyan's expression instantly turned cold. Her entire body was like a sharp sword that was about to be unsheathed, revealing its sharpness, directly suppressing Xian Yongji and Mi Yang's aura. Baldy Miyang glanced at Shi Yingwu, then at Zhuo Banyan, and then shook his head. "Fine, I'll listen to you." He did not want to miss out on a genius like Shi Yingwu, but since Zhuo Banyan had said so, he could not be bothered to take the risk. In any case, bringing back a genius was just a reward of an immemorial grade pill, which was nothing to him. Xian Yongji of the Symbol clan still wanted to say something, but seeing that Zhuo Banyan and Mi Yang had already given up, he could not say anything more. He only snorted coldly and turned around. Apart from Shi Yingwu, no one else in this batch was qualified to be taken away. Black Knife, Yuhan Xin, and the rest were rather disappointed. However, what surprised them was that Zhuo Banyan had suddenly chosen Su Jianbai. Su Jianbai himself did not expect this, and no one knew why Zhuo Banyan had chosen him. Not even Mi Yang and Xian Yongji. If Zhuo Banyan had chosen a mediocre person, she would definitely be scolded by the seniors of the Hidden Sword Division. Therefore, Mi Yang and Xian Yongji were both very curious about this. What was so special about Su Jianbai? They could not tell it all. However, Zhuo Banyan, who had obtained Su Jianbai, smiled slightly. In her heart, she was already thinking that this trip was not in vain. Not only did she obtain the opportunity to step into the ruler's secret realm, but she also returned alive with Long Yu's help. In the end, she even found this junior who possessed the heart of the sword. The Hidden Sword Division could be said to have profited greatly this time. At this moment, Long Yu, who was in the Divine Martial Realm Corps, naturally did not know so many twists and turns. He did not appear now, and most of the people outside would probably think that he was already dead. However, Long Yu did not care. Yu Hanxin and Shi Yingwu would definitely not be too worried about him. As for the others, Long Yu did not care at all about what they thought. Long Yu continuously absorbed the large and medium-sized heart crystals in the Divine Martial Realm Core. In the depths of the Divine Martial Realm Core, the heart crystals that appeared were at least medium-sized, and there were even super-large heart crystals the size of a human head. They contained 100 times more heart force than the medium-sized heart crystals. Long Yu wandered in the Divine Martial Realm Core day and night. After 3 days, he finally broke through the shackles of his realm and expanded his heart world to 100 million miles. Early stage Martial Emperor Realm. Long Yu's eyes flashed with confidence. As he broke through to the early stage Martial Emperor Realm, his Dantian once again gave birth to an additional power. It was the power of deduction that he felt from the 9 Serenities mark. He wanted to test out the power of deduction, but in the Divine Martial Realm Core, it could not be used. Even he was no exception, so he could only give up. Continue absorbing. Long Yu made up his mind and continued to absorb the heart crystals in the depths of the Divine Martial Realm Core. By now, the other cultivators who were exploring the Divine Martial Realm Core must have left. Long Yu did not have to worry about not having enough time. He had enough time to explore the Divine Martial Realm Core. The only thing he needed to pay attention to was the Dark Moon Calamity that would happen in half a year, because he felt that it was still early, and also because he did not want to expose himself too much. Long Yu did not tell the Holy Emperor and the others about the Dark Moon Calamity. After I return from the Divine Martial Realm Core, it's time to prepare for the Dark Moon Calamity, one of the 7 forbidden zones of the 9 Serenities realm, the 9 Dark Moon. Every once in a while, it would approach Shenwu World. Whenever that happened, countless souls would appear from all over Shenwu World and harm the entire Shenwu World. In the past, the Dark Moon Calamity had always brought great losses to Shenwu World, and this time was no exception. However, at the same time as the calamity descended, it was also an opportunity for a few combatants. That was because some of the dark souls that the Dark Moon had summoned and resurrected were from ancient times. If they were killed, it was highly possible that they could obtain some treasures from them, such as martial skill jade slips, battle weapons, and so on. There were even quite a few immemorial martial skills and combat weapons. As long as you had the strength to do so, you might be able to obtain immemorial martial skills and combat weapons. Of course, in the past, only the alliance of 5 emperors had the strength to obtain immemorial martial skills and combat weapons, and most of them were given to the forces from beyond the sky. Aside from that, these ancient dark souls were made from pure spirit energy of the world. So if you killed them and absorbed them, it would be the same as a cultivation pill for a cultivator. Furthermore, it was a pill with no limit. As long as you kill enough dark souls, you might even be able to increase your martial realm. Of course, the price to pay to deal with these dark souls was quite obvious. These dark souls were extremely powerful, more powerful than any other cultivator of the same realm. After all, they came from the ancient era, so their fighting techniques were extremely strange and unpredictable, and they even had a lot of unexpected trump cards. Long Yu shook his head and didn't think too much about it, instead continuing to absorb more Heart Realm crystals and expand the world inside his Dantian. 100 million miles, 110 million miles, 120 million miles. The further he went, the slower his inner world expanded. Even though Long Yu absorbed one large Heart Realm crystal after another, his inner world didn't expand very quickly. After reaching early stage Emperor Realm, the amount of spirit energy of the world or the power of the heart required to increase one's martial realm after another was astronomical. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many people stuck at early stage Emperor Realm in Shenwu World. For example, the head of the Qin family, Qin Zhongyu, had been stuck at early stage Emperor Realm for over 10 years. Not too long ago, he only managed to break through to middle stage Emperor realm because he sought refuge with the Battle Emperor and received a lot of cultivation resources from him. It was easy to imagine that it wouldn't be easy for Long Yu to break through right now. Even if he obtained a fortuitous encounter that countless people could only dream of, he couldn't do it in one go. Not to mention, Long Yu also knew that if he improved too quickly, his foundation wouldn't be stable, which wouldn't be a good thing for him. 1 month later, Long Yu absorbed a total of 3 super giant Heart Realm crystals, 24 large Heart Realm crystals, and over 100 medium Heart Realm crystals. He had practically swept through the entire inner world. His inner world had finally expanded to 190 million kilometers. He was only one step away from stepping into the mid-stage Great Emperor realm. But this step wasn't something that Long Yu could take right now, because he had already swept through the entire inner world and absorbed all of the Heart Realm crystals. It seems that there's a limit to how many Heart Realm crystals can be formed in the Divine Martial Realm core. Even if no one comes here, the number of Heart Realm crystals will still reach a limit. No matter how long it takes, it won't exceed this limit. Long Yu felt a bit regretful. If that wasn't the case, the number of Heart Realm crystals in the inner world core would be at least a few hundred times more. That way, he would be able to reach late-stage Emperor Realm or even peak-stage Emperor Realm in one go. Of course, this thought only flashed through Long Yu's mind. He didn't think too much about it. After confirming that all of the Heart Realm crystals in the inner world core had been absorbed, he flew towards the center of the Divine Martial Realm core. He could feel that the thing that was attracting the 9 nether mark was stored in the center of the Divine Martial Realm core. Now it was finally time for him to reap the harvest. As he broke through the layers of Heart Realm energies and gradually approached the center of the Divine Martial Realm core, the feeling from the 9 nether mark became stronger and stronger. What is the treasure that Jiuyo Dragon Emperor stored here for himself? Chapter 985. In the Divine Martial Arts Realm Core. Apart from Long Yu, there was no one else on the giant Heart Realm planet. At this moment, Long Yu finally reached the center of the Divine Martial Arts Realm Core and saw some of the things that Jiuyo Dragon Emperor had left behind. It could be said that Long Yu had earned these things for free. There were not as many treasures as he had imagined. There were only a few things in front of Long Yu, and they were not very big. Among them was a jade slip with unknown contents. There was also a small elixir bottle with unknown contents. There was also a metal box with unknown contents. Long Yu had no choice but to check them one by one. First was the small elixir bottle. After all, Long Yu had read the alchemy scripture left behind by Consort Yu. He believed that he should be able to recognize what was in the elixir bottle. Soon, Long Yu concluded that there were a total of 5 elixirs in the elixir bottle, and all of them were endless level elixirs. Each endless level elixir contained a wisp of creation power. After examining them, Long Yu recognized the 5 types of elixirs. They were 5 different types of high-grade, endless level elixirs, and they all had the effect of improving a cultivator's innate mystiques. In other words, with these 5 endless level elixirs, Long Yu's innate mystiques would be greatly improved. Long Yu was already excited. Then, using the aura of the 9 serenities mark, he opened the small metal box and found 3 pitch black stones inside. At first glance, these 3 stones did not seem to be anything special, but Long Yu could feel the existence of creation power from them. Could they also be things that could improve innate mystiques? Long Yu thought to himself. He put himself in Jiuyo Dragon Emperor's shoes. If Jiuyo Dragon Emperor succeeded in using a body to be reborn, what would he have prepared for himself? Without a doubt, it must be some cultivation resources that could speed up one's cultivation, such as endless grade medicinal pills, or some secret treasures that could improve one's innate divine abilities. That way, no matter who Jiuyo Dragon Emperor reincarnated into, he would be able to quickly increase his martial realm. 1-star Emperor, 2-star Emperor, etc. However, Long Yu wasn't sure how to use these 3 pitch black stones. Could it be that he could absorb their power directly? Long Yu gave it a try and found that after absorbing the energy from the black stone into his body, it quickly settled in his dantian and attached itself to one of the connate divine fruits. It was the hand of the nine hells. In Long Yu's inner world, the hand of nine underworlds had already developed into a gigantic white bone arm. It was tens of miles long and stretched across the endless void. The power of the pitch-black stone floated in from the outside world and quickly affected the white bone arm. After absorbing the power of the pitch-black stone, the entire white bone arm's aura became gloomier, and its body began to slowly expand. This was the sign of an innate divine ability improving. Long Yu suppressed the joy in his heart and wanted to stop absorbing first. However, he found that once he started absorbing the power of the pitch-black stone, it was difficult to stop. If he forcibly stopped, the power of the entire stone would dissipate and be wasted. Long Yu originally wanted to see what was recorded in the jade slip, but now it seemed that he had to absorb the power of the pitch-black stone first. The power of the Dubhe star couldn't affect the center of the divine martial realm nucleus. So Long Yu couldn't absorb medicinal pills at the moment. This made Long Yu think that the other 2 pitch-black stones and the 5 endless-grade medicinal pills would have to leave the divine martial realm nucleus before they could be absorbed, as the power of the pitch-black stone was absorbed by Long Yu. The connate divine fruit in his inner world, the hand of the 9 underworlds, kept expanding, and its aura became thicker and thicker. Soon, a special effect was born. It's transformed, an imperial divine ability. Long Yu quickly realized that his number 1 divine ability, the Hand of 9 Underworlds, had already evolved into an Emperor-level divine ability. His entire skeletal arm had already stretched for over 100 miles in the void. Although it was still dozens of times smaller than the divine martial realm's nucleus, it was still a magnificent sight at first glance. After transforming into an imperial divine ability, the Hand of the 9 Underworlds had a psychic impact effect, which was related to the strength of the opponent's willpower. If it was a cultivator with a weak willpower, the psychic impact of the Hand of the 9 Underworlds could shock them on the spot for at least 1 or 2 breaths. In a battle of this level, 1 or 2 breaths were enough to determine the final outcome. There was no doubt that after Long Yu's first divine ability became an imperial divine ability, his overall strength had increased further. However, at this moment, the power of the pitch-black stone had not been completely consumed. In fact, only a small portion of it had been consumed. This made Long Yu ecstatic. He thought that this pitch-black stone must be a super-secret treasure that Jiyo Dragon Emperor had prepared for himself. He had no idea where Jiyo Dragon Emperor got it from, but its effects were so heaven-defying. Even if I completely absorb this pitch-black stone, the Hand of the 9 Underworlds can't become an imperial divine ability. I should improve my other divine abilities first. With this thought in mind, Long Yu urged the power of the pitch-black stone to surround the divine ability fruit of the Book of Shadows. It was a pitch-black open book page that originally occupied an area of more than 30 kilometers in the void. However, under the influence of the pitch-black stone's power, the area began to expand continuously, and the aura of the 9 underworlds became denser and denser. The Book of Shadows, which was at the level of a King Path divine ability, allowed Long Yu's body to transform into any kind of power and fuse it with that power. Whether it was used to attack, defend, or escape, the effects were extremely terrifying. The only problem was that it consumed too much power. Under normal circumstances, Long Yu would not use it. However, as the book page grew larger and larger, the aura within it became denser and denser. Long Yu felt that the next time he used the Book of Shadows to simulate power, the consumption would only be 1/10 of what it was before. The transformation of the divine ability fruit had arrived once again. Imperial divine ability, Book of Shadows. A shrewd glint flickered in Long Yu's eyes. As the Book of Shadows evolved into an imperial divine ability, his combat strength had undoubtedly increased by a large margin. If the spiritual shock effect of the Hand of the 9 Underworlds was considered the icing on the cake for Long Yu, then the upgrade of the Book of Shadows was considered timely assistance. From now on, Long Yu could use the Book of Shadows multiple times in battle. He was practically immune to all forms of attacks, including the impact of the Genesis 5 elements. As Long Yu's fifth divine ability, the Book of Shadows was originally a high-grade divine ability. Now that it had become an imperial divine ability, its effects became extremely shocking. After the two divine ability fruits were upgraded to Emperor Path divine abilities, the power in the pitch black stone was almost depleted, but it wasn't completely exhausted yet. Long Yu transferred the remaining power to the 9 Underworld Hunter. The 9 Underworld Hunter was Long Yu's sixth divine ability. The 9 Underworld Hunter that he had summoned previously wasn't too outstanding, so he hadn't used it much. However, the true transformation of innate divine abilities was usually when they became imperial divine abilities. Long Yu was rather looking forward to seeing what would happen to the 9 Underworld's Hunter when it evolved into an imperial divine ability. Originally, the 9 Underworld's Hunter was a divine ability at the 7th level. It was still 3 levels away from becoming an imperial divine ability. The remaining energy from the pitch black stone could no longer transform it into an imperial divine ability. It could only upgrade it to a 9th level divine ability. The energy of the entire pitch black stone was finally exhausted. During the process of absorbing the pitch black stone, Long Yu became more and more delighted. He didn't expect the effect of the pitch black stone to be so powerful. It directly upgraded 2 of his divine abilities to imperial divine abilities. Before coming to the divine martial realm core, Long Yu didn't expect to obtain such precious treasures. Moreover, there were 3 of them. Now that one was used up, there were still 2 left. One could imagine how much Long Yu's strength would change after absorbing the pitch black stone. After a day and a night, Long Yu absorbed all the power within the first pitch black stone. Then, the 9 Underworld's Hunter and the Book of Shadows became imperial divine abilities, and the 9 Underworld's Hunter was upgraded to the 9th level. However, what came next was very bad news. Not long after absorbing all the power within the first pitch black stone, Long Yu's face darkened. He felt that the 3 divine ability fruits that had just been upgraded seemed to have been corroded by some evil power. The side effects of absorbing the pitch black stone had appeared. Long Yu's face turned ashen. He didn't expect that the items left behind by the Geo-Dragon Emperor would have side effects. Moreover, the side effects seemed to be very serious. The 9 Underworld's hand can't be used. The Book of Shadows can't be used. The 9 Underworld's Hunter can't be used. Long Yu gave it a try. The 3 innate divine abilities that had just been upgraded couldn't be used at this moment. This was undoubtedly a huge blow to him. Was it temporary or permanent? Long Yu immediately pondered. Logically speaking, the items left behind by the Geo-Dragon Emperor shouldn't have side effects. Even if there were, either the Geo-Dragon Emperor had a way to remove the side effects, or the side effects wouldn't be too serious. If it was the second possibility, the side effects would only be temporary and wouldn't be too serious. Then, Long Yu would be relieved. Everything would return to normal once the side effects were gone. However, if it was the first possibility, then Long Yu was in big trouble. The Geo-Dragon Emperor had a way to remove the side effects, but Long Yu didn't know. Now, the one who absorbed the pitch black stone was Long Yu, not the Geo-Dragon Emperor. Oh no, I hope the side effects won't spread to other places. Long Yu could only pray like this for now. He realized that no matter what he did, he couldn't affect the evil power that covered the 3 divine ability fruits. Chapter 986. Long Yu's divine sense sunk into the jade slip and quickly discovered that it recorded the cultivation experience of a martial Dao secret technique. Long Yu had only seen the balance control and the immortal purple blood up until now. He hadn't seen anything else. However, from the looks of these 2 secret martial arts, their effects in battle could be described as heaven-defying. Balance control allowed Long Yu to clearly sense the flow of energy around him and accurately judge the weaknesses and flaws of his opponent's attacks. Moreover, he was able to hide himself to the greatest extent, making it so that even experts who were many times stronger than him in the martial way would not be able to discover his tracks. Now, that Long Yu was an early-stage emperor. He was able to hide himself from anyone below the 7-star emperor. Even those at the level of the 7-star emperor would have to use some special methods to detect Long Yu. This was the power of balance control. As for the undying purple blood, it was a secret art of the Outer Heavens Lushan clan's Z-Fan tribe. Those who cultivated the undying purple blood would have a second life. Even if their heads were blown off, they would be able to hold on and not die immediately. In a one-on-one battle, this secret technique was not too strong. But if it was used in a group battle, then every cultivator of the Z-Fan tribe would have more than 2 lives. It was definitely a divine technique that could allow them to defeat many at once. The jade slip in Long Yu's hand contained another secret martial technique. It must have been left behind by the Geo Dragon Emperor, but he didn't know what it was for. Secret martial technique, pure body cultivation technique. Unfortunately, I don't know how to cultivate the pure body cultivation technique. Even if I had the cultivation technique, it would be useless. Long Yu's brows furrowed. He briefly checked the cultivation of the world pure body and soon found out that as long as the cultivator cultivated the world pure body secret technique, the cultivator's physical strength and willpower would be enhanced. But most importantly, the world pure body secret technique could remove all filth and evil from the cultivator's body, be it poison, shock, or suppression. As long as one cultivated a strong enough pure world body, he would be completely immune to these negative effects. It could be said to be a life-saving technique. Previously, the Envoy of Death said that the Geo Dragon Emperor already knows 3 secret martial arts techniques, but only the balance control was taught to the 4 envoys of the Netherworld. Where can I get the cultivation method of the pure world physique? Long Yu was caught in a dilemma. Geo Dragon Emperor must have left behind the cultivation experience of the pure world physique for him to use after he was reincarnated. After he was reincarnated, the Geo Dragon Emperor would only need to rely on this cultivation experience to greatly increase the cultivation speed of the pure world physique. In other words, this cultivation experience could be said to be the method to promote the cultivation of the pure world physique, but it could not be used to know how to cultivate the pure world physique. Of course, the Geo Dragon Emperor knew how to cultivate the pure world physique, so there was no need for him to prepare the related jade slips. Could it be that the cultivation method of the pure world physique had been completely lost? Unfortunately, the Envoy of Death did not say where the Geo Dragon Emperor obtained the cultivation method of the pure world physique. I'm afraid now. That's right, the 9 Nether Prison Tablet. Long Yu suddenly remembered the 9 Nether Prison Tablet near the 9 Nether Palace. The Envoy of Death said that many of the achievements of the Geo Dragon Emperor were comprehended from the 9 Nether Prison Tablet. Then, could the cultivation method of the pure world physique be comprehended from the 9 Nether Prison Tablet? If that was the case, then by relying on the cultivation experience of the pure world physique, Long Yu should be able to comprehend the cultivation method of the pure world physique from it. This possibility wasn't impossible, but the possibility wasn't high. Long Yu suppressed this thought in his heart and didn't think too much about it for the time being. The secret treasures that the Geo Dragon Emperor had placed in the divine martial realm nucleus were these 3: a jade slip, 5 medicinal pills, and 3 pitch black stones. Long Yu already knew what these 3 things were. But now, Long Yu was relieved that the side effects caused by absorbing the power of the pitch black stones didn't show any signs of spreading to other parts of his inner world. The 3 divine ability fruits were only sealed and couldn't be used for the time being. Long Yu couldn't help but think that if he cultivated the pure world physique, he wouldn't be affected by this evil power, right? No wonder the Geo Dragon Emperor would collect these pitch black stones to increase the level of his divine ability. It was because he would definitely cultivate the pure world physique, and the side effects of the pitch black stones would be limited or even completely ineffective. But the problem that Long Yu was facing right now was that he only obtained the cultivation experience of the pure world physique, but not the cultivation method of the pure world physique. No, I have to solve this problem as soon as possible. Long Yu began to fly away from the divine martial realm nucleus, at the same time preparing to explore the Nine Serenities Palace again. The main reason was to observe the Nine Serenities prison tablet and see if he could comprehend the cultivation method of the pure world physique from it. Fortunately, Long Yu wouldn't run into any enemies in the endless void of the Nine Serenities realm, so he had enough time to slowly study it. Of course, it would be best if he could return to Shenwu world before the Dark Moon Calamity descends half a year later. Shi Yingwu and Yu Hanxin quickly returned to Shenwu world. After the exploration of the realm of divine martial arts, Yu Hanxin had stepped into the mid-stage martial emperor realm, and his true strength was at least at the peak martial emperor realm. After returning to the North Snow Empire, he once again picked up the great cause of the empire's development. There was one thing that Yu Hanxin and Shi Yingwu had reported to the Saint Emperor, Lei Emperor, and the other 5 emperors that the Dark Moon Calamity would descend within half a year, so the 5 emperors had to prepare early. The 5 emperors naturally placed a lot of importance on the news of the Dark Moon Calamity, but because Yu Hanxin and Shi Yingwu couldn't provide any evidence, the 5 emperors couldn't announce this to the world. During this period of time, the 5 emperors had been looking for evidence to see if the Dark Moon Calamity was really coming. However, every Dark Moon Calamity happened without any warning. Even if they purposely calculated, they wouldn't be able to predict when the Dark Moon Calamity would descend. The last time the Dark Moon Cataclysm came was 400 to 500 years ago. At that time, the 5 emperors had all been replaced. In other words, the current 5 emperors had never experienced the Dark Moon Cataclysm. However, the alliance of 5 emperors had recorded a lot of information about the Dark Moon Calamity. Once the Dark Moon Calamity arrives, 9 dark moons will appear in the sky. Under the influence of the 9 dark moons, countless souls of the dead in Shenwu world will awaken and attack any living beings that exist in Shenwu world. The Dark Moon Calamity was extremely terrifying. The most terrifying one was that 1/3 of all living beings in Shenwu world died in that calamity. Because of this, the Saint Emperor, Lei Emperor, Flame Emperor, Demon Emperor, as well as the newly appointed Cloud Emperor, had discussed the Dark Moon Calamity many times. Among them, the Thunder Emperor and the Flame Emperor were trying their best to make preparations in advance. They knew that Long Yu had an unclear relationship with the entire Netherworld realm. It was very likely that he had foreseen the arrival of the Dark Moon Calamity in advance. But the Saint Emperor and Demon Emperor didn't really agree with this. They didn't see the scene of the Death Envoy and the Geo Dragon Emperor's remnant consciousness, so they felt that the Dark Moon Calamity was impossible to predict. Otherwise, how could they not have predicted it in the past tens of thousands of years? This was something that even the Lushan clan's ruler's secret realm couldn't predict. Because the 9 dark moons were normally very well hidden, only when they were a certain distance away from the Sea of Death aura would the 9 dark moons appear. Moreover, the 9 dark moons would work together with the Sea of Death aura to create a mysterious power that would revive all the souls of Shenwu world. However, just in case, and considering the time, it wasn't impossible for the Dark Moon Calamity to arrive. So in the end, the 5 emperors decided to secretly prepare for the Dark Moon Calamity. However, they wouldn't announce this information for now, in case the Dark Moon Calamity hadn't arrived yet. This way, even if the Dark Moon Calamity did arrive, the alliance of 5 emperors would have ample preparations to deal with it, and their losses would be greatly reduced. Both Yu Hanxin and Shi Yingwu were a bit disappointed about this. After all, once the Dark Moon Calamity arrives, it wouldn't just affect the alliance of 5 emperors, it would affect the entire Shenwu world. Millions of people would die during the Dark Moon Calamity. The 2 girls originally thought that the 5 emperors would announce this to the world, but they didn't think that the 5 emperors would only make such a decision in the end. In other words, although the alliance of 5 emperors had made preparations, the entire Shenwu world wasn't prepared at all. Once the Dark Moon Calamity happens, the consequences would be unimaginable. Because of this, the 2 girls couldn't influence the 5 emperors' decision. And so, The two girls only focused on the Northern Snow Empire and began to vigorously promote the construction of battle facilities, including the construction of sufficiently sturdy battle fortresses, and so on. Because of Long Yu, the entire Northern Snow Empire's upper echelons all knew how to use divine rune crystals to reinforce buildings. So, Emperor-level existences like Xing Fa and Dao Jingtian were constantly sweeping through the Northern Snow Empire's small beast nests and collecting Tier 1 divine rune crystals. Under Yu Hanxin's command, 72 battle fortresses were built throughout the Northern Snow Empire's borders, specifically to deal with the Dark Moon Calamity. Each battle fortress was a gigantic structure, capable of accommodating millions of people. Furthermore, the walls of the fortress didn't have any gaps or loopholes, enough to stop weaker souls from attacking the fortress. 72 battle fortresses, starting from the outer circle of the Northern Snow Empire, continuously converged towards the inner circle, finally forming a huge fortress network. Furthermore, each battle fortress was equipped with a warp formation. Chapter 987. Long Yu had reminded Yu Hanxin and Shi Yingwu to build fortresses throughout the Northern Snow Empire. At this moment, Long Yu had already arrived at the sealed space of the Nine Serenities Palace. He once again saw the Nine Serenities prison tablet that was floating in the endless void outside the Nine Serenities Palace. Even an expert at the level of consort, Yu wanted to obtain the Nine Serenities prison tablet for the Nine Serenities clan. She had personally cultivated Long Yu. It could be seen that the Nine Serenities prison tablet was not an ordinary item. Jiyo Dragon Emperor had obtained a lot of inspiration from the Nine Serenities prison tablet, which made him a super expert in the outside world. It could be seen that there were many secrets hidden in the Nine Serenities prison tablet. As consort, you had said, this Nine Serenities prison tablet might be something that belonged to gods. It was not impossible. Jiyo Dragon Emperor died in the legendary god's punishment. In that case, gods might really exist in this world. However, no one has ever seen a god. Long Yu shook his head and didn't think too much about it. It took him more than 10 days to move from the divine martial realm nucleus to the Nine Serenities Palace. During this time, he had constantly mastered the Nine Serenities mark. Finally, he had mastered it to 6%. His perception of the Nine Serenities realm had improved. At the same time, he had also read the cultivation experience of the worldly purification body recorded in the Jade Slip several times. He only stopped when he had completely memorized the experience. When he arrived in front of the Nine Serenities prison tablet, he immediately began to try to comprehend the worldly purification body from the Nine Serenities prison tablet with the experience. The Nine Serenities prison tablet was a huge stone tablet that was hundreds of miles tall. It emitted a gloomy and mysterious aura, as if it was hiding endless secrets. Apart from Long Yu, other people would feel their hearts palpitate when they approached the Nine Serenities prison tablet. Only Long Yu could calmly come to a place very close to the Nine Serenities prison tablet. This made Long Yu a little nervous. After all, he had the Nine Serenities mark in his body. It was normal that he could ignore the influence of the 7 forbidden areas of the Nine Serenities realm. However, the Nine Serenities prison tablet was not something from the Nine Serenities realm, nor was it something that belonged to Jiyo Dragon Emperor. Why was Long Yu not affected by its mysterious aura? Right now, Long Yu was definitely unable to understand this point. However, since the 9 underworld steel did not have any effect on him, he was too lazy to think about it for the time being. He wanted to try and see if he could comprehend the pure world body from it first. Not to mention anything else, Long Yu realized that after he got closer to the 9 underworlds monument, his comprehension speed of the 9 underworlds mark increased significantly. In fact, the closer he got to the 9 underworlds monument, the faster Long Yu grasped the 9 underworlds mark. He had the Li Serenities, Huan Yu had the Serenities Serenity Yang tablet, and tablet with Li understood it. The surface of the 9 Serenities prison tablet wasn't smooth and flat. Instead, it was uneven. It was like a huge shield that had been through hundreds of battles. There were many marks on it. Long Yu tried to use his strongest power, the formation of 9 serenities, to attack the 9 serenities prison tablet. However, he realized that the 9 black cracks couldn't leave any mark on the 9 serenities prison tablet at all. This caused Long Yu to feel even more reverence towards the 9 hell tablet. It should be known that the destructive power of the 9 hell divine formation that he had unleashed was sufficient to destroy ordinary buildings reinforced with second-grade divine rune crystals. However, when facing the 9 hell tablet, it couldn't even leave a mark on it. From this, it could be seen how extraordinary the 9 hell tablet was. Feeling the eerie and mysterious aura from the 9 serenities prison tablet, Long Yu started to try to understand the secret martial arts technique of the body of 9 serenities prison tablet. At the same time, he continued to strengthen his control of the 9 serenities, Huan Yu's mark. Time passed by slowly. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had gone by. Long Yu tried to understand the 9 serenities prison tablet. In these 3 months, he could only vaguely sense something from the 9 serenities prison tablet. He couldn't truly understand anything. That caused Long Yu to feel a sense of defeat. However, he did not give up. Instead, he chose to consume 2 unbounded medicinal pills, causing the spirit chi of heaven and earth within them to burst forth, filling up Long Yu's entire inner world and expanding it. The last 10 million miles from the mid-stage Great Emperor realm finally expanded under the influence of the 2 endless grade pills. Long Yu's aura suddenly changed to that of a mid-stage Great Emperor. Stepping into the mid-stage Great Emperor realm meant that Long Yu's divination abilities had more than doubled. However, there wasn't much for him to do in this place, so he didn't do any experiments. Aside from that, the power of his inner world increased by several folds. This made Long Yu's base strength more than 10 times that of a late-stage Emperor realm. Now that he was a mid-stage Great Emperor, Long Yu wouldn't be afraid of fighting against a 1-star Emperor. Even if he couldn't defeat his opponent, he could at least protect himself. But that wasn't the only effect of the 2 endless grade medicinal pills. More importantly, the power of creation contained within the pills exploded forth, allowing Long Yu's 9 hell hunter innate mystique to truly step into the realm of monarchs, and then transform into an emperor's mystique, truly becoming a terrifying killer move. 9 Serenities Hunter was Long Yu's 6th mystic art. Before it became a monarch's, it wasn't too eye-catching. In fact, it wasn't even as useful as a primordial shadow. But now that it had become an Emperor realm mystic art, the 9 Serenities Hunter had completely transformed. Long Yu tried to summon a 9 Serenities Hunter and had it spar with him. In the end, he discovered that the 9 Serenities Hunter's combat strength wasn't any weaker than Long Yu's. An Emperor Realm 9 Serenities Hunter wielded 2 scimitars. Its speed was incredibly fast, and it didn't rely on the power of space. Even if the surrounding space was sealed, the 9 Serenities Hunter could still disappear before one's eyes and reappear behind one's back in an instant. If it wasn't for Long Yu's comprehension of balance control, he wouldn't have been able to capture the 9 Serenities Hunter's figure and speed. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't have been able to do so. The 2 scimitars in the 9 Serenities Hunter's hands were the biggest change after it evolved from an ordinary innate mystic art to an Emperor realm mystic art. Of the 2 scimitars, one was called Solid Blade. Its destructive power was almost equal to the Void Nether Dragon Blade. Moreover, it was the same as the Void Nether Dragon Blade that had reached spirit consociation with Long Yu. It was obvious how terrifying the destructive power of the Solid Blade was. It probably only needed a few moves to kill a peak Emperor Realm Martial Cultivator. The other scimitar was called Heart Blade. It was specially used to destroy the opponent's willpower. The Heart Blade could create one illusion after another, and it was endless. Once one fell into the illusion created by the Heart Blade, it would be extremely difficult to break free. When Long Yu fought the 9 Serenities Hunter, he fell into one illusion after another and was almost killed by the 9 Serenities Hunter. Fortunately, his willpower was strong enough, and he severed one of his arms in the end to break free from the illusion. Even Long Yu had to pay such a terrifying price to deal with the 9 Serenities hunter, let alone others. Of course, after Long Yu severed his arm, he knew that the 9 Serenities hunter was very strong. There was no need to do any more tests, and he immediately took an immemorial healing pill to regrow his arm. He felt that it was a pity. It was too wasteful to use an immemorial healing pill like this. If he could learn the immortal purple blood secret technique, his self-recovery ability would increase by thousands of times. He wouldn't have to use healing pills whenever he was injured. Long Yu's strength had stepped into the mid-stage Emperor realm. At the same time, his 9 Nether Hunter had evolved into an Emperor Path Sacred Art. In addition to the fact that he had comprehended the 9 Nether mark to 9% in the past 3 months, he quickly gained new insights into the 9 Nether Prison Steel. On the basis of the previous 3 months of comprehension, Long Yu had just immersed himself in comprehending the 9 Hell Tablet when a kind of enlightenment appeared in his mind. There were some mystical characters that appeared out of nowhere in his mind and intertwined with the worldly purity body's cultivation experience that he had memorized. As Long Yu's understanding deepened, these words became clearer and clearer. Due to the fact that they intertwined with the pure world physique, Long Yu had reason to believe that this was the cultivation method of the pure world physique. Looks like the 9 Abyss Dragon Emperor obtained the pure world physique cultivation method from the 9 Abyss Prison Tablet. Long Yu's mood started to improve. However, he did not act blindly without thinking and got carried away. That was because the 9 Underworld Prison Tablet was an existence that far surpassed his current level. A single mistake could very well cause him to be consigned to eternal damnation. As time passed, the mysterious words that appeared from the 9 Serenities prison tablet became clearer and clearer in Long Yu's mind. This made Long Yu more and more certain that these words were the cultivation method of the pure world physique. However, it wasn't something that could be done in a short period of time if he wanted to understand these words. After another 2 months had passed, the mystical characters in Long Yu's mind finally became clearer and clearer. Gradually, he was able to distinguish the outline and shape of the characters, and he could guess the general meaning of the characters. At this time, there was only 1 month left before the Dark Moon Calamity. Martial Dao's secret art, Pure World Physique, absorbed the purest energy in the world to refine the body, allowing the body to have natural resistance against all evil and filth. The effect is extremely remarkable. Pure World Physique, the first cultivation method. Long Yu concentrated and memorized all the mysterious words that appeared in his mind. He couldn't guarantee that these things would appear again next time, so since they appeared, he would seize the opportunity. However, perhaps because Long Yu's martial Dao realm wasn't high enough, the cultivation method of the Pure World Physique only appeared in his mind up to the 3rd cultivation method. Chapter 988. After obtaining the cultivation method for the first 3 levels of the Pure World Body, Long Yu immediately began to cultivate the Pure World Body. This was because he still couldn't use the 3 divine abilities that were sealed by the mysterious evil force in his body. This made him feel uneasy. It was better to solve this problem as soon as possible. He wondered how many levels he would need to cultivate the Pure World Body to offset the side effects of the Black Stone. In any case, Long Yu directly began to cultivate the Pure World Body according to the information he had obtained. The most important thing to cultivate the martial Dao secret technique was to have enough heaven and earth spiritual qi. For this, Long Yu had long prepared. He still had 3 endless grade medicinal pills left, as well as some ancient and immemorial grade medicinal pills that he had obtained from the Earth God tribe's Grand Palace. The reason why he didn't take 2 endless grade medicinal pills at the beginning was because he wanted to cultivate this martial Dao secret technique as quickly as possible after obtaining the cultivation method of the Pure World Body. It was a pity that his martial Dao realm was a little low before, so he couldn't comprehend it. Now, the situation was much clearer. He first took the ancient and immemorial grade medicinal pills. These medicinal pills were low, medium, and high grade, so they didn't have any special effects. The pure heaven and earth spiritual qi contained in them was all poured into the cultivation of the pure world body by Long Yu. It was different from balance control. When Long Yu cultivated balance control, all the spiritual energy of heaven and earth that he absorbed would gather near his heart. It would mainly strengthen his heart, which would enhance his perception in all aspects. The pure world body, on the other hand, transferred all the heaven and earth spiritual qi he absorbed to every part of his body, and then used the heaven and earth spiritual qi to further absorb the pure and holy power in the surrounding space to transform his body. Long Yu arranged the heaven and earth spiritual qi he absorbed according to the cultivation method of the pure world body. Soon, he felt his whole body become warm and comfortable. He had completely absorbed the spiritual energy of more than 20 ancient and immemorial grade pills, and as a matter of course, he had successfully cultivated the first realm of the body of purification. His body already possessed the preliminary power of purification, and he would not be suppressed, or confused by opponents of the same realm. However, when Long Yu checked, he realized that the mysterious, evil power from the black stone still had his 3 divine ability fruits sealed inside of him. Gritting his teeth, he continued to take the 3 endless grade medicinal pills. The first unbounded medicinal pill didn't produce much spirit energy of heaven and earth. It seemed Long Yu's luck wasn't very good. However, it did contain a lot of spirit energy, as well as some power of creation, which Long Yu used to improve his 7th divine ability, the 9 Serenities path. As Long Yu's 7th divine ability, the path of the underworld was naturally a high-grade divine ability. It had already helped Long Yu a lot before, let alone after it was upgraded. With the help of the first endless grade medicinal pill, the path of the underworld leaped from the 7th realm to the monarch path divine ability. It had undergone a qualitative change. As a monarch path divine ability, the path of the underworld was 10 times more effective at penetrating spatial seals. Within the path of the underworld, Long Yu could move freely. Furthermore, the path of the 9 Serenities, which was a monarch path divine ability, also had a protective effect. As long as he was within the range of the path of the underworld, there would be a barrier protecting Long Yu's safety. Simply put, it had some sort of defensive effect. As for how effective the defensive effect was, Long Yu didn't know. That was the effect of the first endless grade medicinal pill. It had upgraded the path of the underworld to the monarch path divine ability and also strengthened Long Yu's cultivation of the pure world physique. At this point, Long Yu was really worried that the next 2 endless grade medicinal pills would only have this effect. If that happened, he probably wouldn't be able to cultivate the pure world physique to the 2nd realm. But he soon realized that he didn't need to worry, because the 2nd endless grade medicinal pill had finally exploded. Every endless grade medicinal pill, when taken by a cultivator, could explode with 2 times, 3 times, or even more times the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and special power of heaven and earth. That was the most special thing about endless grade medicinal pills. Long Yu had taken quite a few endless grade medicinal pills before, and they had all exploded in a small way. It was common to see 1 or 2 times the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and 3 times the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. As for more than that, Long Yu had never seen one before. But now that he had taken the 2nd endless grade medicinal pill, he had finally experienced a huge explosion. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth and the special power of creation had increased by 6 times. In other words, this endless grade medicinal pill was equivalent to taking 6 endless grade medicinal pills that hadn't exploded for Long Yu. One could imagine the effect. The holy power in Long Yu's body flickered and condensed again. His pure world physique was just 1 step away from stepping into the 2nd realm. At the same time, Long Yu focused the 6-fold power of creation from the endless grade medicinal pill on the dragon breath of the 9 underworlds, upgrading it to an Emperor Path divine ability. Emperor Path divine ability dragon breath of the 9 underworlds. Its power is 10 times stronger than before. Looks like this dragon breath of the 9 underworlds is purely a divine ability with super destructive power. There's nothing fancy about it, just that its power has increased exponentially. Long Yu thought in his heart. He was quite satisfied with this. But the most important thing now was the effect of the next endless grade medicinal pill. It would be best if he could rely on it to upgrade his pure world physique to the second realm. The last endless grade medicinal pill didn't disappoint Long Yu. Although it only doubled the effect of the medicinal pill, it successfully pushed his pure world physique to the second realm. To Long Yu's pleasant surprise, the mysterious evil power that sealed his 3 divine ability fruits had finally begun to dissipate. The pure world physique could make all evil and filth retreat. This martial Dao secret technique was very mysterious, but also made Long Yu a little confused. If the Jiuyou Dragon Emperor also cultivated the pure world physique, wouldn't he be a combination of evil and holiness? However, after thinking about it, Long Yu understood. The body of purity only allowed the cultivator to be free from the effects of special powers, including suppression, imprisonment, illusions, erosion, and so on. It did not mean that the cultivator himself had become pure and holy. Long Yu didn't think too much about it. In any case, the pure world physique could remove the seal on the divine ability fruits in his body, and that was enough. With that, Long Yu could use the 2 pitch black stones he had on him again. But before that, Long Yu first took out the jade slip that Dragon Empress Jiuyou had left behind regarding the cultivation of the pure world body. Long Yu spent half a month reading the contents of the jade scroll thousands of times. In the end, his pure world physique finally reached the 3rd realm. So this pure world physique cultivation experience can really improve the cultivation of the pure world physique. Even without the heaven and earth spiritual chi, it can still be improved through the experience. It seems that the Jiuyou Dragon Emperor left this cultivation experience behind so that he could quickly improve the pure world physique after being reborn. Long Yu guessed in his heart. He felt that his entire body had become clear. When his body of purity reached the 3rd level, a large amount of impurities were instantly expelled from his body, causing him to feel refreshed and refreshed. Although it didn't seem to have much effect on the surface, Long Yu knew very well that now that he had reached the 3rd realm of the pure world physique, normal suppression, imprisonment, and erosion techniques were no longer effective against him. Even if he used 9 Hell's deterrence on himself, he would find that the effect would be weakened by at least half. It had been 5.5 months since Long Yu arrived in front of the 9 Hell's prison tablet. There was only a little less than half a month left until the 9 Dark Moon approached Shenwu World and the Dark Moon Calamity descended. Long Yu finally completed the cultivation transformation of his body before the Dark Moon Calamity befell. During this half a year of cultivation, not only did he successfully cultivate the 3rd realm of the martial art secret art, pure world physique, he also obtained several thaumaturgy fruits, comprehended a few emperor thaumaturgies, and reached martial emperor realm middle stage. Right after that, Long Yu prepared to leave the 9 Hells prison tablet. After cultivating here for half a year, Long Yu was a bit reluctant to leave. But the Dark Moon Calamity was about to descend. If he didn't leave now, he was worried that something might happen to the Northern Snow Empire. That wouldn't be fun. After leaving the 9 Hells prison tablet, Long Yu once again teleported closer to Shenwu World. After this half a year, Long Yu's control over the 9 Hells mark had increased to 15%, allowing him to exert 2 to 3 times more power in the 9 Hells realm than before. At this point, Long Yu had a considerable amount of control over the 9 Hells mark thanks to the 9 Hells mark. If I encounter a 1st-star Imperial Monarch now, I'll be able to crush him with ease. Even if I fight against a 2-star Emperor, I won't be at a disadvantage. I might even be able to defeat them. Long Yu's eyes flashed. He decided to absorb the power of the 2 remaining black stones before returning to Shenwu World. Although the mysterious evil power within the black stones had sealed his thaumaturgy fruits for over 5 months, leaving Long Yu a bit traumatized, There was no doubt that the black stones were very effective in improving his innate thaumaturgy. Since Long Yu had already reached the third realm of pure world physique, he should be able to safely absorb the power of the two black stones. While teleporting towards Shunwu world, Long Yu was also absorbing the power of creation from the black stones. He first upgraded the Emperor Thaumaturgy, Path of Nine Hells, and Soul Seal Absorption. For what he saw before, the power of each black stone was enough to upgrade both Emperor Thaumaturgy to Emperor Thaumaturgy, with some left over. Chapter 989. The remaining power in the black stone was used by Long Yu to strengthen the Eye of Shadow. He raised the Eye of Shadow from the 7th heaven to the 9th heaven. The range of the Eye of Shadow had increased once again. But immediately after, Long Yu slightly furrowed his brows. He realized that after the power of the black stone was absorbed, the mysterious evil energy that was emitted from it seemed to be several times stronger than before. A ball of black gas wrapped around the path of 9 underworlds, Soul Seal Siphon, and Eye of Shadow. The 3 divine art fruits were completely sealed and could not be used. Even the third stage of the pure world physique was unable to disperse the mass of black gas. The entire mass of black gas was like a maggot attached to a bone, completely attaching itself to Long Yu's 3 divine ability fruits. Another tragedy. Long Yu could not help but curse. What exactly was this black stone? How could it produce mysterious evil energy of different intensities? Previously, Long Yu had gotten rid of the after effects of the black stone by cultivating his pure world physique to the 2nd stage. But now, even though his pure world physique had reached the 3rd stage, he still couldn't get rid of the same after effects. This was something that Long Yu had never expected. He no longer had the cultivation method for the pure world body. Now, he could only cultivate to the 3rd level. In other words, before he found a special method, his Path of 9 underworlds, Soul Seal Siphon, and Eye of Shadow would be sealed and could not be used. Not only that, Long Yu had no idea what would happen to the divine art fruits after they were sealed. He had a feeling that if the divine art fruits were sealed by the mysterious evil black gas for too long, there would be some unbearable consequences. This is bad. Long Yu finally experienced what it meant to bring down the evils that he brought upon himself. However, when he absorbed the 2nd black stone, he really did not expect such a situation to happen. This also reminded Long Yu that there might be something extremely dangerous among the things left behind by the Jiuyo Dragon Emperor. This kind of pitch black stone was still alright. If he encountered something more powerful, Long Yu would be completely defeated. Some of the problems that Jiuyo Dragon Emperor could solve didn't mean that Long Yu could. I must be careful in the future. As for now, there's nothing I can do. I can only slowly think of a way. Long Yu sighed and shook his head. There was nothing he could do about the 3 divine ability fruits that were sealed by a mysterious evil force in his inner world. Fortunately, the Path of 9 underworlds, Soul Seal Siphon, and Eye of Shadow, these 3 thaumaturgies weren't thaumaturgies that Long Yu often used. Even if they were sealed, they couldn't affect Long Yu's overall fighting strength. This could be said to be a blessing in disguise. But after this, besides dealing with the Dark Moon calamity, Long Yu also needed to quickly think of a way to improve his pure state, or find a special pill that could purify his body. Both of these were equally unlikely, but they could be done at the same time. If I want to improve my pure state, I'll have to wait until after the calamity of the Dark Moon is over before coming back to try and comprehend the 9 underworlds prison tablet. As for pills with special purification effects, they'll probably be hard to find in Shunwu world, so I'll have to rely on luck. Thinking that, Long Yu saw a thick sea of death aura in front of him. The eerie aura was coming towards him. He knew that he had arrived at the Sea of Death aura. Passing through the Sea of Death aura would be Shunwu world. He knew that it was about time for him to make his move. So with a thought, he turned into a normal-looking middle-aged man and disappeared into the thick Sea of Death aura. Long Yu's disguise was, of course, executed through the Book of Shadows. However, The disguise this time was different from all the previous times. Now that the Book of Shadows had evolved into an Emperor-level thaumaturgy, Long Yu could change his appearance and presence at will through the Book of Shadows. This was the most powerful aspect of an Emperor-level thaumaturgy. The current Book of Shadows allowed Long Yu to completely disguise himself, and after disguising himself, he could even use his own methods. This was the biggest difference between the Book of Shadows and before. As soon as Long Yu saw Consort Yu and heard Consort Yu's words, he knew that his existence was definitely not allowed by the Lushan clan. If the Lushan clan found out that he, Long Yu, was slowly gaining control over the Nine Serenities mark, he would definitely die. That was why during this Dark Moon calamity, he was prepared to hide his identity and tracks, as well as change his appearance, so that no one would be able to find any suspicious clues. The originally elusive Long Yu, after upgrading the Book of Shadows to an Emperor-level thaumaturgy, would become even more elusive. Want to kill Long Yu? Let's find him first. Furthermore, after the Emperor-level thaumaturgy Book of Shadows was disguised, it also had the ability to interfere with deductions, causing the deduction power that descended on Long Yu to become chaotic, making it impossible to accurately deduce anything about him. Unless the other party's martial arts realm was much higher than Long Yu's, they would never be able to find out where Long Yu was. After returning to Shunwu World, Long Yu could sense that the ninth Dark Moon was already nearby. Once the Dark Moon calamity is over, maybe I should go check out the interior of the ninth Dark Moon. Although no one has been there before, it shouldn't be a problem for me to go there, right? Long Yu thought to himself. Since the Geo-Dragon Emperor had placed a few things in the Divine Martial Realm Core and the Nine Serenities Palace, then he might have also prepared a few precious things in the other forbidden areas. Since Long Yu had obtained the Nine Serenities mark, he definitely couldn't miss out on these things. Even if the black stone he obtained now was a big problem for Long Yu, overall, the things left behind by the Geo-Dragon Emperor were definitely very useful to Long Yu. Although 3 of his thaumaturgies were sealed, Long Yu's other thaumaturgies had all evolved into Emperor-level thaumaturgies, so not only did his overall strength not decrease, it actually increased. After completing his evolution, Long Yu originally only wanted to go into seclusion to gain a better understanding of the Nine Serenities mark, which he should have been able to fully grasp after 10 to 20 years. But now that the Dark Moon calamity had arrived, he couldn't just ignore it. After all, while the Dark Moon calamity was a disaster for Shunwu World, it was also a great opportunity. As long as he could kill the awakened ancient souls, he would be able to obtain some decent cultivation resources. And right now, Long Yu is in desperate need of spirit energy, whether it's to increase the realm of martial arts or to increase the level of understanding of balance control. He'll need a vast amount of spirit energy from the world. Just relying on pills is far from enough, as Long Yu has already collected almost all the pills he can get, unless he can leave Shunwu World and travel to outer space. Not to mention, Long Yu faintly felt that something wasn't right with the 9 Dark Moon this time. Perhaps something special would happen during this Dark Moon calamity. It was this premonition that allowed Long Yu to return to Shunwu World before the Dark Moon calamity arrived. Long Yu turned into a normal-looking middle-aged man and returned to the Northern Snow Empire. Only half a year had passed, but the entire Northern Snow Empire had changed a lot. First of all, the entire Northern Snow Empire had been divided into 4 main regions: Northern Snow Region, Heavenly Mandate Region, Azura Region, and the Red Emperor Region. The 4 main regions occupied the former territories of the Northern Snow Empire, Shenluo Empire, Tianqin Empire, and the Clouds Empire respectively. In the center were 4 large cities: Northern Snow Capital, Heavenly Mandate City, Azura City, and the Red Emperor City. Due to the inexplicable death of the War Emperor and the ascension of the Cloud Emperor, the Northern Snow Empire ushered in a period of rapid development. During this period, no other forces could stop the rapid development of the Northern Snow Empire. The 10 billion Shinbi Shi Yingwu obtained from the strongest Emperor realm became the biggest source of development for the Northern Snow Empire. Countless cultivation resources were transported from the holy city of the 5 emperors to the Northern Snow Empire. Furthermore, the major forces of the Northern Snow Empire all had ancient and archaic martial arts manuals. This allowed the Northern Snow Empire to attract countless martial arts cultivators from the surrounding areas in just half a year. Its overall strength was several times stronger than the previous 4 countries combined. If this trend continued, in just a few years, the overall strength of the Northern Snow Empire would surpass the 6 sects and 10 countries, becoming a new superpower in the Shenwu world. As long as the Northern Snow Empire didn't endanger the rule of the alliance of 5 emperors, the forces from beyond the heavens wouldn't care. In fact, the people of the Northern Snow Empire had never thought of going against the alliance of 5 emperors. For everyone in Shenwu world, the alliance of 5 emperors was the strongest existence. Anyone who tried to go against the alliance of 5 emperors would only be courting death. Under such circumstances, no matter how much the Northern Snow Empire developed, it would be hard for them to go against the alliance of 5 emperors. Long Yu was very happy that he had once again returned to the Northern Snow Empire. Not only had this empire developed, it had also built 72 impregnable fortresses that were spread throughout the entire Northern Snow Empire. This was what Long Yu had discussed with Shi Yingwu and Yu Hanxin before. They were all doing their best to prepare for the upcoming Dark Moon Calamity, but he didn't think that they would directly build 72 fortresses. This preparation was definitely more than enough for the upcoming Dark Moon Calamity. Furthermore, the 72 fortresses and the 4 main cities of the Northern Snow Empire all had teleportation arrays built between them, so the speed of mutual support would be extremely fast. No matter which place was about to collapse, the other places would immediately send reinforcements. In comparison, the other empires that Long Yu passed through on his way back to the Northern Snow Empire didn't make any effective preparations. Only the neighboring countries of the Northern Snow Empire seemed to have heard some sort of news and built a few war cities. Their defenses were very tight, and they even built quite a few war machines. Looks like the 5 emperors didn't announce the Dark Moon Calamity to the world, huh? Chapter 990. No one knew when the Dark Moon Catastrophe would befall. Even Long Yu didn't know when the Dark Moon Catastrophe would start. He could feel that the 9th Dark Moon was very close to the Shenwu world, but the Dark Moon Catastrophe hadn't started yet. But from now on, the Dark Moon Catastrophe could break out at any time, and even Long Yu might be caught off guard. In the Heavenly Mandate City, Long Yu was in the center of the city, following countless people to the arena in the north of the Heavenly Mandate City. According to the people around him, there were 2 young geniuses having a life-and-death duel in the arena. The reason for this life-and-death duel was because the 2 young men were fighting over a woman because of jealousy, causing them to start fighting. The reason why Long Yu wanted to go and see was that this woman was related to him. She was He Qin Shue from the Yellow Sand Sky City when he was on the Heavenly Mandate floating island. He Qin Shue was Long Yu's senior sister in the Yellow Sand Sky City, and Long Yu had saved her once. When they parted, she kissed Long Yu on the cheek. There was no doubt that He Qin Shue had feelings for Long Yu, but unfortunately, Long Yu couldn't accept her. One reason was that he didn't have feelings for her, and the other was that it was too dangerous to be around Long Yu. Any danger against Long Yu, once it involved someone at He Qin Shue's level, He Qin Shue had almost no ability to resist. Although Long Yu had a good relationship with many people in the Northern Snow Empire, from now on, he could only move behind the scenes. Only when he took the 9 Serenities realm to the Jiuyo clan and liberated the 9 Serenities realm from the Lushan clan could he truly be at ease and get along with everyone. Before that, if the mark of the 9 Serenities in Long Yu's body was discovered, then he would face a life-and-death crisis. At this time, he didn't want to involve any of his friends. Long Yu arrived at the martial arts arena in the north of Heavenly Mandate City and found that the 2 young men were both at the late stage of the Emperor realm. Both of them were very handsome and elegant. They were actually brothers. It was rumored that these 2 brothers had agreed to a life-and-death battle for He Qin Shue. However, Long Yu didn't see He Qin Shue in person, but Yi Luan appeared at the scene and was trying to dissuade the 2 brothers. Right now, Yilun was already a late-stage Emperor Realm cultivator, and he could be considered one of the managers of Heavenly Mandate City. Naturally, his prestige was quite good. However, even if Yilun made a move, he wouldn't be able to stop the life and death battle between the two brothers. Yilun meant that Chinchua didn't want to see either of them get hurt, so she didn't want to see them fight and wanted them to stop. However, the conflict between the two brothers was not small. For Chinchua's sake, neither of them was willing to reconcile. In my opinion, instead of having a life-and-death battle, it's better to compare who can kill more resurrected souls after the Dark Moon catastrophe. That's more interesting. When everyone heard Long Yu's words, they couldn't help but gawk before turning silent. Indeed, the Dark Moon catastrophe was a major event for everyone, and the entire Northern Snow Empire began to publicize the imminent arrival of the Dark Moon catastrophe half a year ago. Calculating the time, the Dark Moon catastrophe should be coming soon, right? If the Dark Moon catastrophe comes, suddenly, many people fell silent, but there were still people who were dismissive. Who knows when the Dark Moon catastrophe will come? Except for the rumors in our Northern Snow Empire, I haven't heard any rumors in other countries. It can be imagined that this is mostly alarmist talk. That's right, and our Northern Snow Empire has long been prepared to build 72 war fortresses. Even if the Dark Moon catastrophe comes, what can it do to us? Indeed, we don't have to worry about the Dark Moon catastrophe. On the contrary, we have waited for this life-and-death battle for a long time. We must not miss it. Listening to the words of these onlookers, Long Yu almost fainted from anger. How confident are these guys in the Northern Snow Empire? Even I, Long Yu, have to face the Dark Moon catastrophe carefully. If I'm not careful, I'm afraid I'll fail miserably. But these guys who aren't even King State are actually not worried about the Dark Moon catastrophe. This allowed Long Yu to roughly understand some of the problems that currently exist within the Northern Snow Empire. Although the Northern Snow Empire as a whole is developing very quickly, it's also caused the cultivators within the Northern Snow Empire to develop an arrogant and conceited personality. This personality isn't good for the Empire as a whole. In fact, it's a huge threat. In fact, the Northern Snow Empire isn't considered a particularly strong force within the Shenwu world. There are at least a few dozen forces that are stronger than the Northern Snow Empire. However, because the Northern Snow Empire is developing too quickly, most of the cultivators within the Empire have become a bit arrogant. That's good too. When the Dark Moon catastrophe comes, these people will be taught a harsh lesson. Long Yu shook his head and thought to himself. However, he definitely won't let the Zhang brothers' life or death duel begin today. After all, Emperor late-stage Yus are already considered decent geniuses in the Northern Snow Empire. Not to mention, these two are only in their 20s and have a bright future ahead of them. If either one of them were to die in their life or death duel, it would undoubtedly be a huge loss for the Northern Snow Empire. In comparison, if these two were to join forces to resist the Dark Moon catastrophe, they would become a powerful force in the resistance process and could even save a lot of other cultivators. Under such circumstances, Long Yu naturally wouldn't step aside and let them continue killing each other. All right, go do what you need to do. With me here, your life or death duel can be said to have ended early. As for victory or defeat, we'll count it according to the resurrected souls you've killed during the Dark Moon catastrophe. Long Yu coughed and continued to stand in the middle. The Zhang brothers, on the other hand, were furious because they both felt that they were definitely stronger than the other party. If they were to fight, they would definitely be able to defeat the other party and gain Chinchua's favor. Since you're stopping us, we'll take care of you first. The elder Zhang brother snorted and called out, "Younger brother, let's get rid of this hindrance first, and then proceed with our life or death duel." No problem. The Zhang family's younger brother also coldly nodded his head. Both of them instantly released flame-type divine runes from their bodies, descending towards Long Yu with a loud rumble. It was like a raging inferno that wanted to burn Long Yu into ashes. AI. Long Yu sighed and shook his head. He didn't move an inch from his original spot. Even though his assailants were both using advanced 7th level divine arts, it still wasn't enough to threaten Long Yu in the slightest. When Long Yu was a late-stage Emperor Realm cultivator, his physique was already comparable to a peak Emperor Realm cultivator. Now that he'd broken through to mid-stage Emperor Realm, his physique was tempered anew and tempered by the power of the Heart Realm. His physique was several times stronger than before. Even a late Emperor Realm expert's Emperor Realm art might not be able to do much damage to Long Yu, much less a late Emperor Realm expert's high-rank art. Sure enough, in the next moment, when the Zhang brothers' flame divine ability completely enveloped Long Yu, the two brothers were shocked to discover that the high-level divine ability they were so proud of was completely unable to break through this person's defense. In fact, this person was able to block their attacks with just his physical body. Just who was this person? How did he possess such terrifying strength? The Zhang brothers only made a single move, but it was easily blocked by Long Yu. He was roasted by the flames of the two's high-level divine ability, but it was as comfortable as taking a hot bath. The two's divine abilities posed no threat to Long Yu at all. It was at this time that Long Yu suddenly raised his head with a frown. Chapter 991. Long Yu instantly sensed that the distance between the Nine Dark Moon and the Shenwu world had finally reached its lowest point. As the Dark Moon aura poured down from the endless void, a faint red crescent moon appeared in the sky above the Shenwu world. At this time, the Nine Dark Moon was still relatively dim in the sky of the Shenwu world. Only a rough outline could be seen, but a dense Dark Moon aura was already pouring down from it. It has begun. The Dark Moon cataclysm has arrived. Long Yu murmured softly. At the same time, the expressions of the people around him also changed. Even ordinary people could now see the faint red crescent moon in the sky with their naked eyes. Wasn't that the scene of the legendary Dark Moon cataclysm? Almost at the next moment, at the same time that the outline of the Dark Moon of the Nine Serenities appeared, a series of loud bell sounds rang throughout the entire Heavenly Mandate City. The sound spread throughout the entire Heavenly Mandate City, and even directly reached outside the Heavenly Mandate City through the sound-amplifying matrix that had been prepared beforehand. Almost at this time, the bell sounds rang throughout the entire Northern Snow Empire. As the Northern Snow Empire was already prepared, all the cities reacted very quickly. As soon as the Nine Dark Moon appeared, the bell sounds had already spread throughout the empire, telling everyone to get ready to defend against the Dark Moon cataclysm. The area near the northern arena of the Heavenly Mandate City, where Long Yu was, suddenly became chaotic. An incomparably huge defensive matrix rose from all around the Heavenly Mandate City, completely enveloping the entire giant Heavenly Mandate City within it. If the resurrected souls from the outside world wanted to attack the Heavenly Mandate City, it would be extremely difficult. Seeing this scene, Long Yu nodded in satisfaction. It seemed that in the past 6 months, Yu Hanxin, Shi Yingwu, and the others had not wasted their time. They were very well prepared for the Dark Moon cataclysm. However, this did not mean that the Heavenly Mandate City was absolutely safe. Near the chaotic northern arena of the Heavenly Mandate City, some gloomy aura began to seep out from below. It seemed to be resonating with the 9 dark moons in the sky. As waves of Inchi rose, not far from Long Yu, a translucent shadow of a giant beetle gradually appeared. It was almost as tall as 3 people combined, and its body was almost the size of a small building. As soon as the giant beetle phantom appeared, it pounced towards the chaotic crowd. In an instant, 2 martial cultivators of the transcendent secret realm were devoured by the giant beetle phantom, a late-stage king realm expert. Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. He could immediately tell that the strength of the giant beetle phantom had reached the late stage of the king realm. He didn't expect that the resurrected souls that appeared at the beginning of the Dark Moon calamity would be the souls of such ferocious beasts. The martial cultivators of the Jianghu, who were just saying that the Dark Moon Calamity was not scary, suddenly fell into complete chaos. Fortunately, the Heavenly Mandate City was well prepared for the arrival of the Dark Moon Calamity. There were city guards patrolling everywhere in the Heavenly Mandate City. In an instant, 2 city guards from the secret realm of the Emperor Path rushed over. One of them activated the divine script of Ice, and the other activated the divine script of Berserker. The two cooperated with each other and firmly suppressed the giant beetle phantom. The power of the 2 divine characters fused together, and in less than the time it took for an incense stick to burn, the giant beetle phantom was blasted into nothingness. In the process, everyone realized that in order to harm the resurrected souls, they could only rely on the power of the divine script. In other words, only those who had reached the secret realm of the transcendent secret realm could deal with the resurrected souls. Even the power of the law of heaven and earth was useless against the resurrected souls. Using the power of the law of heaven and earth to attack the resurrected souls was like attacking the air, completely ineffective. And in the entire Northern Snow Empire, or even the entire Shenwu world, how many cultivators had reached the secret realm of the transcendent secret realm, the body refinement secret realm, the true spirit secret realm, and the celestial being secret realm? These 3 were the lowest levels of martial arts. They took up at least 80% of the population of the Northern Snow Empire, or even the entire Shenwu world. Those who had reached the secret realm of the transcendent secret realm and could truly activate the power of the divine script also took up at least 15% of the population. Only the remaining 5% of cultivators had reached the secret realm of the Emperor Path and were the true main force to deal with the Dark Moon Calamity. And the first resurrected giant beetle soul that Long Yu saw with his own eyes had already reached the late stage of the King Realm. It was easy to imagine that at this moment, the entire Shenwu world was covered in disasters. In a place like the Heavenly Mandate Island, even if the resurrected soul of a giant beetle appeared, it would be able to wipe out the entire island, and no one would be able to stop it. Of course, on the 108,000 floating islands of the Shenwu world, because there weren't too many powerful creatures that died on the islands, it was very unlikely that the resurrected souls of powerful creatures would appear. However, if they did appear, it would be a terrible disaster. Everyone get ready. Cultivators who have reached the King Realm can participate in the killing of the resurrected souls. After the calamity, you can use the Mark of the Souls to claim your reward at the Heavenly Mandate City Lord's office. The rest of you, gather at the shelters that have been built in advance. A loud voice came from the direction of the City Lord's office and spread across the entire city. Under the Heavenly Mandate City, an incomparably huge shelter was built. Everyone's life and training in the shelter would not be too different from before. Moreover, there would be city guards patrolling all over the shelter to prevent the resurrection of ancient dead souls in the shelter. All the cultivators who had not reached the secret realm of the Emperor Path flooded into the underground shelter from all the entrances, preparing to take refuge. As for the other martial cultivators and city guards who had reached the King Realm, they began patrolling everywhere. All of them were in a state of intense battle preparation. "Can you stop the battle now?" Long Yu squinted his eyes and said to the Zhang brothers, "The Dark Moon Calamity is a great opportunity for you, and also a great test for you. How about we use the number of souls killed to determine the winner of the battle to the death?" The Zhang brothers also felt the eerie aura rising from below, as well as the strange power of the hazy dark moon in the sky, and they both felt a little anxious. Hearing Long Yu's words, coupled with the fact that the 2 of them had not been able to hurt Long Yu at all, they finally nodded. "Then we'll use the number of souls killed to determine the winner." The 2 brothers nodded and then leaped out in all directions, ready to look for the resurrected souls to deal with. Since the Dark Moon Calamity had just begun, there were not many souls that had been resurrected from the underground. Once one appeared in the city, it would quickly be killed by the city guards and the martial cultivators of the Jianghu. It could not even survive for more than half an hour. Not long after, the number of people in the entire Heavenly Mandate City decreased sharply, and more than 80% of the population had gathered in the shelters that had been built in advance. More than half of the city guards had been sent to patrol the shelters below. Because the shelters were built underground, it was very easy for souls to resurrect, so at least half of the city guards were needed to ensure the safety of the shelters. Even so, the souls of the dead would often awaken in the shelter and kill some of the weaker cultivators. Because no one knew where the souls of these ancient creatures would awaken from. The dark moon calamity had begun, and the resurrection of the souls was impossible to guard against. The entire Shenwu world could be said to be in a state of panic, and even martial emperors could die at any time. When the dark moon calamity truly arrived, some of the previously optimistic people in the Northern Snow Empire finally realized that their previous thinking was completely wrong. Did they really think that they wouldn't have to fear the dark moon calamity just because they were prepared? They were completely wrong. If they truly wanted to be fearless, they could only rely on true strength. Without true strength, even if they hid in the shelters, they could still be killed by the resurrected souls at any time. Senior, the calamity has arrived. Please help us. At this moment, Yiluan was also about to enter the battle, but before he joined the battle, he first ran to Long Yu and respectfully said to Long Yu. Previously, the Zhang brothers' joint attack did not hurt Long Yu at all. How could Yiluan not know that this person was definitely an extremely powerful senior? At the very least, he must have reached the Emperor realm. At this time, there were not many martial emperors in the Heavenly Mandate City. There were only about a dozen of them, and each of them could be said to be the strongest fighting force of the Heavenly Mandate City. Therefore, Yiluan wanted to get in touch with Long Yu, at least to understand this person's mentality, lest this person was here to cause trouble. Don't worry. This is a calamity for the entire Shenwu world. I will do my best. Long Yu nodded to Yiluan, letting Yiluan relax. Senior, farewell. Yiluan nodded with a solemn expression, turned around and flew towards the soul of a giant bird that had just been resurrected not too far away. Flame divine glyphs appeared all over his body, decorating him into a fireball. As Long Yu watched Yiluan's departing figure, he couldn't help but smirk. Yiluan, I'm afraid you don't know that I'm Long Yu. But Long Yu didn't say much. The most important thing right now was to kill the resurrected souls of the ancient creatures. Every resurrected soul that was killed could save some weaker people. And those weaker people might not necessarily be weak in the future. They might even become the biggest pillars of the Shenwu world in the future. Because of this, the martial emperors had to risk their lives to protect them, and which martial emperors didn't have friends and family. Even if it was to protect their friends and family, these martial emperors would still throw themselves into the fierce battle. The massacre has begun. Long Yu felt the terrifying aura spreading from the sky and the ground at the same time. A glimmer of light flashed in his eyes. He hoped that in this calamity, the Northern Snow Empire wouldn't suffer too much loss. Suddenly, two familiar figures appeared in front of Long Yu's eyes, walking through the streets of the Heavenly Mandate City. It was Bei Yu Yao and Do Zicheng, who he hadn't seen for a long time. Mother! Chapter 992. For Long Yu, the real challenge has yet to begin. According to the records in the library of the Alliance of Five Emperors, the Dark Moon Cataclysm in history usually lasts for a month, after which the 9 Dark Moons will move to a place far away from Shenwu world. As the 9 Dark Moons move further and further away, the Cataclysm will become weaker and weaker until it finally ends. After each Dark Moon Cataclysm ends, the entire Shenwu world will be in ruins. At least 30% of the population will lose their lives. Of course, if the Dark Moon Cataclysm can be prepared and dealt with, the death toll will decrease drastically. For example, the Northern Snow Empire right now should be able to control the death toll to below 5%. The most severe Dark Moon Cataclysm in history caused the population of Shenwu world to wither. More than half of the population died during the Cataclysm, It's not hard to imagine how terrifying it was. Most importantly, the Dark Moon Cataclysm comes without any warning, and the gap between two Dark Moon Cataclysm can be anywhere from 100 to 1,000 years, so it's impossible to predict. Others in Shenwu world don't know, but Long Yu does. This is because the orbit of the 9 dark moons around Shenwu world isn't fixed. It's constantly changing, sometimes very far away, sometimes very close. This also caused the Alliance of 5 Emperors to be unable to make any preparations for the Dark Moon Cataclysm. However, with Long Yu's reminder, the Alliance of 5 Emperors made a lot of preparations for the Dark Moon Cataclysm this time, so they should be able to reduce their losses by quite a bit. The Dark Moon Cataclysm lasts for a month, and the truly powerful souls will only awaken in the latter half of the month. Only then will it be Long Yu's turn to make a move. As for the first half of the month, most of the awakened souls of King and Emperor realms will wreak havoc in Shenwu world. Although they aren't particularly powerful, their numbers are uncountable, and there's no end to them. Even Emperor Realm cultivators have been surrounded and killed by countless awakened Emperor Realm souls. However, since Long Yu was in the Heavenly Mandate City, which was well prepared for defense, it was unlikely that he would encounter such a situation where he was besieged by the souls of the dead. Therefore, in the first half of the month, he planned to protect Bei Yuyao and his other friends in the Heavenly Mandate City. Long Yu quietly followed behind Bei Yuyao and Dou Zicheng after he saw them. After a moment of careful observation, he discovered that both of them were at initial Emperor Realm. Their progress wasn't very fast, but it wasn't too slow either. As an initial Emperor Realm cultivator, he should be able to survive the calamity of the Dark Moon for the first half of the month. However, there was no guarantee that no accidents would occur, so he had to be careful at all times. Bei Yuyao and Dou Zicheng walked through the Heavenly Mandate City. As friends who had known each other for a long time, and Dou Zicheng was a good friend of Long Yu's father, Long Zaiqian, they had a rich experience in cooperating with each other in combat. Soon, the two of them encountered 2 awakened ancient souls of the dead. It was a giant centipede and a giant python. The 2 phantoms of the ancient souls of the dead appeared on the left and right of Bei Yuyao and Dou Zicheng respectively, attacking them from both sides. Long Yu was not in a hurry to attack, because these 2 ancient souls of the dead were only at the late stage of the King realm. They shouldn't be very strong in battle, so there was no need for him to attack so soon. Bei Yuyao raised her hand, and the power of the Ice Divine text poured out. She activated the mid-level magic of the 5th and 6th heavens, and instantly froze the giant centipede. As for Dou Zicheng, he comprehended the wind elemental divine text. With a wave of his hand, a tornado was born and condensed, and the other giant python was wrapped in it. The 2 of them had rich experience in fighting together. In an instant, they suppressed the 2 ancient souls of the dead. Then, the 2 of them used various killing moves and completely killed the 2 ancient souls of the dead. A translucent mist floated out of the dead ancient souls of the dead and was directly absorbed by Bei Yuyao. Long Yu felt that Bei Yuyao's martial arts realm had become more solid and stable. It seemed that the translucent mist was the heaven and earth spiritual qi inside the ancient souls of the dead. When the ancient souls of the dead died completely, the heaven and earth spiritual qi that supported their existence dissipated and could be absorbed by the people nearby. Long Yu looked to the other side and saw that the 2 Zhang brothers were fighting against different ancient souls of the dead. However, 2 late Emperor Realm ancient souls of the dead suddenly appeared beside the younger Zhang brother. Twin beast souls. Long Yu looked over and saw through the 2 late Emperor Realm ancient souls of the dead. They were 2 bird-type giant beasts that had died many years ago. The resurrected souls of these 2 bird-type giant beasts looked like 2 giant heavenly eagles, but their claws were very large and their strength was extremely terrifying. The 2 ancient souls of the dead were resurrected at the same time. They stretched out their translucent wings and swooped down directly toward the younger Zhang brother, wanting to tear him into pieces. How could the younger Zhang brother resist the two resurrected ancient souls of the dead alone. Watch out! Although the older Zhang brother had previously insisted on a life-and-death battle with the younger Zhang brother, now that his brother was in danger, the older Zhang brother still hurriedly cried out in alarm and flashed over. The two of them fought against a heavenly eagle soul of the dead and temporarily stabilized the situation. Soon, some nearby city guards and martial arts practitioners of the Jianghu arrived and directly blasted away the two twin beast souls. The Heavenly Mandate City had a radius of hundreds of miles and was vast. More and more ancient souls of the dead kept appearing in the Heavenly Mandate City. Fortunately, because they were prepared in advance, they were still at a level that they could handle until now. Not bad. Long Yu watched the Zhang brothers shake hands and reconcile after this crisis and smiled. These two fellows could still be saved. If these two really disregarded their brotherhood for a woman, it would really make Long Yu extremely disappointed. Competition was fine, but why make brothers kill each other? There were many ways to compete fairly. They were not mortal enemies, so there was no need for a life-and-death battle. In the Heavenly Mandate City, countless people were busy, and ancient souls of the dead were constantly resurrected. They varied in strength from the early stage of the King Realm to the late stage of the Emperor Realm, and occasionally, there were even Imperial Soul of the Dead. Although there were not many of them, every time an Imperial Soul of the Dead appeared, it could be said that the Heavenly Mandate City was under great pressure. After all, there were not many Imperial Realm cultivators in the Heavenly Mandate City. Now, only Yu Shaoyin and Yu Linfeng were stationed in the Heavenly Mandate City. Long Yu had been following behind Bei Yuyao and Dou Zicheng. After following them for a small part of the Heavenly Mandate City, he suddenly realized that the situation in the entire city seemed to be not quite right. The power of deduction. Long Yu frowned slightly and did not hesitate to activate the power of deduction in his body. Although he only vaguely felt that something was wrong, he did not know what exactly was wrong. So he tried to use the power of deduction. The power of deduction continued to appear in his mind, and then countless clues related to his uneasiness were quickly strung together, and finally let him find some clues that something was wrong. At this moment, in the Heavenly Mandate City, although most people were seriously fighting against the Dark Moon catastrophe, there were still a few people who were fishing in troubled waters. This sort of thing could be considered normal. However, since Long Yu had sensed it, then the things that the other party had done would definitely be related to Long Yu. When Long Yu continued to use the power of deduction, he finally discovered that there were many people from an unknown organization lying in ambush everywhere in the Heavenly Mandate City. After deduction, the target of this group of people was actually to harm the leaders of the Heavenly Mandate City, such as Bei Yuyao and Dou Zicheng. The current Heavenly Mandate City was one of the 4 main cities of a northern Snow Empire, and its importance was self-evident. The leaders and management of the city, such as the City Lord, were naturally extremely important. Someone actually wants to attack the City Lord office. I want to see who is so bold. A murderous look flashed in Long Yu's eyes. Soon, following the results of the power of deduction, he tracked a black-robed man who was waiting for an opportunity in a small alley. This alley was completely immersed in shadows. If not for Long Yu's power of deduction, he would not have noticed it at all. But there really was a black-robed man in this alley. Long Yu walked deep into the alley and saw the black-robed man. The black-robed man was originally waiting for something, but the moment he saw Long Yu, he stood up. "What are you doing here? This is my territory. If there are ancient dead souls coming back, only I have the right to kill them," the black-robed man said viciously when he saw Long Yu appear. From the looks of it, he was just an ordinary cultivator waiting in a small alley. However, Long Yu could see something different from the other party's eyes. It was something that made the black-robed man appear somewhat nervous. This black-robed man was definitely going to do something big. Late-stage Emperor Realm. The corner of Long Yu's mouth curled up slightly. "Tell me honestly, what are you waiting for by hiding here? I will count to 3. If you don't answer honestly, you can go to hell." The black-robed man did not expect Long Yu to be so decisive. He looked at Long Yu in surprise and doubt, but he could not tell who Long Yu was at all. He could not even see Long Yu's martial arts realm. This made him a little flustered. But just when Long Yu counted to 2, a rhythmic thunder suddenly came from the center of Heavenly Mandate City. One long, one short, one long, one short. It went on for 3 cycles. Long Yu saw a flash of panic in the black-robed man's eyes when he heard this sound. He could not help but frown. The situation did not seem right. In the next moment, it seemed that all the secret forces hiding in Heavenly Mandate City had finally acted at the same time. Under the detection of Long Yu's balanced control of the secret martial arts method, everything within a radius of 100 miles was imprinted in Long Yu's mind. Assassination? What good plan? I just don't know who sent you here to die. A murderous intent surged in Long Yu's eyes. Then, the black-robed man in front of him was instantly killed from inside. Until death, his face still had a look of disbelief and panic. Chapter 993. All the assassins in black in Heavenly Mandate City acted at the same time. Who was behind this? But for Long Yu, the most important thing was to ensure that no one was killed in this assassination. No matter who was behind this. I swear I will not let any one of you go. A strong murderous intent surged in Long Yu's eyes. His figure flickered, and instantly hundreds of ancient shadows appeared, teleporting in all directions. And Long Yu himself activated the Mark of 9 Serenities in his dantian at this moment, mobilizing the power of the entire realm of 9 Serenities to enhance his detection ability. Balance control, expansion. 100 miles, 200 miles, 300 miles. With the addition of the power of the realm of the 9 Serenities, the range of Long Yu's detection rapidly expanded until it covered the entire Heavenly Mandate City. Everything that was happening in Heavenly Mandate City was seen by Long Yu. There were 321 assassins in black, all of them in the Emperor Realm or Great Emperor Realm. Among them, 300 were in the middle and late stages of the Emperor Realm, and the other 21 were in the early and middle stages of the Emperor Realm. These 300 assassins in black were originally hiding in the Heavenly Mandate City, waiting for an opportunity to strike. When they heard the rhythmic sound of thunder, they instantly acted at the same time, killing everyone in the Heavenly Mandate City who was related to Long Yu. Since Long Yu had already detected the whereabouts of all the assassins in black, it would not be so easy for them to succeed. Divine Script of the Void. Teleportation. All the ancient shadows conjured by Long Yu teleported in an instant and appeared in various parts of the Heavenly Mandate City, finding the high-ranking members of the Heavenly Mandate City who had been assassinated. Almost all the assassins in black were stunned at this moment. They did not expect that just when they were about to kill their targets to complete their mission, an unfathomable black figure would appear. This black figure was the desolate ancient shadow that Long Yu had condensed. However, the black figure was pure darkness, and outsiders could not see what it looked like at all. Moreover, as soon as these shadows appeared, they immediately attacked the assassins in black. As for the method of attack, they all used the same ultimate technique, the space-severing strike. At this moment, within the entire Heavenly Mandate City, a terrifying aura of space-breaking divine characters erupted, almost sweeping the entire sky above the city. That intimidating aura shocked all the martial cultivators of the Jianghu and the city guards who were fighting with the resurrected souls. Space-shattering strike. Kill. Long Yu floated up, his eyes filled with boundless killing intent. Although he did not personally take action, he had achieved an extremely shocking effect by overseeing the situation. Almost in an instant, all 321 black-clothed assassins were killed by the terrifying attack of the black figure before they could even make a move. In a breath's time, all the black-clothed assassins were killed by the space-splitting strike. Bei Yuyao and Do Zicheng were fighting a mid-Emperor Realm awakened beast together when 2 early Emperor Realm assassins in black suddenly appeared out of nowhere and tried to kill them in an instant. Bei Yuyao and Do Zicheng were shocked. They didn't know these two black-robed cultivators, so why were they attacking them? But as soon as the thought flashed through their minds, they were already prepared to attack, not giving the two any chance to do so. But at this moment, two black figures suddenly teleported into the sky above the four of them. Then, the aura of space-breaking divine characters exploded out. Following that, the two assassins in black seemed to have no ability to resist at all. They each spat out a mouthful of blood, and their eyes revealed a look of disbelief. What kind of martial skill could actually penetrate their bodies and attack their vital parts? In that instant, the two assassins felt as if a sharp blade had pierced into their bodies and shredded their dantian. Even as early Emperor Realm cultivators, they had no chance to resist. Didn't they say that this operation was safe? The two assassins fell to the ground one after the other, their eyes wide open in death. The other 319 assassins in black had suffered the same fate as these two assassins in black. All of them had died in an instant, and the cause of their deaths was the same. Their dantians had been destroyed by an unknown force, causing their inner world to explode, and they had lost their lives. The Lord of Heavenly Mandate City, Gu Yixian, was now an early Emperor Realm cultivator. But just a moment ago, he was ambushed by 3 mid-Emperor assassins. Gu Yixian was in the middle of dealing with the 2 awakened souls of the late Emperor Realm, so he almost couldn't react in time. Fortunately, Gu Yixian himself was strong. Although he was only an early Emperor Realm cultivator, his true strength was definitely at the level of a mid-Emperor. 3 mid-Emperor assassins working together failed to kill Gu Yixian. Then, 3 blurry black figures appeared out of nowhere and exploded with the power of space-breaking divine characters. In an instant, the 3 assassins in black died, their dantian completely destroyed. Gu Yixian was just about to counterattack when he encountered this scene, and he couldn't help being stunned. He wanted to take a closer look at the 3 black figures that he couldn't see clearly. However, the 3 black figures quickly dissipated like smoke and dust, because Long Yu had condensed 321 shadows in one go. Each shadow only had enough power for a single attack. After that one attack, the energy would be exhausted and they would dissipate. Such a situation was occurring throughout the entire Heavenly Mandate City. The sudden assassination of the assassins in black was followed by the sudden appearance of the strange black figures, and then all of them dissipating. Who's helping us? Could it be Long Yu? Gu Yixian looked at the place where the 3 desolate ancient shadows disappeared. He pondered for a moment and felt that it was similar to Long Yu's desolate ancient shadows. But the problem was, Long Yu shouldn't be here, right? And even if it was Long Yu, he shouldn't be able to summon the shadows to help him so quickly, right? Most importantly, the 3 assassins were mid-Emperor Realm. Since when did Long Yu's ancient shadows reach the level where they could kill such powerhouses in a single attack? But if it's not Long Yu, then who is it? Gu Yixian's brows knitted tightly together. Just like Gu Yixian, the other members of the City Lord's office who had been assassinated in the Heavenly Mandate City were mostly Long Yu's friends on Heavenly Mandate Island. They were all King and Emperor Realm martial arts cultivators, and they governed the entire Heavenly Mandate City together with Gu Yixian. When the assassination happened, Gu Yixian immediately summoned everyone back to the City Lord's office to discuss countermeasures, mainly to prevent the next wave of assassinations. Since there was a round of assassination, there might be a second round. Fortunately, the Dark Moon Calamity had only just begun, and the situation wasn't that urgent. Summoning 300 people back wouldn't result in any serious consequences. Everyone is back. Tell me what just happened and your speculations. Under Gu Yixian's summons, all the City Lord's office members who had been assassinated, including Bei Yuyao and Do Zicheng, Xiao Xing and Nanmin and Xiao were the first to arrive, because they were the closest to the City Lord's office. Their experience was similar to Gu Yixian's, but they were each assassinated by a late-stage Emperor Realm assassin, obviously because they were only in the middle-stage Emperor Realm. Simple speculation showed that this assassination was planned long ago to target all the people in the City Lord's office. Otherwise, it was impossible to assign people one level higher than the members of the City Lord's office to assassinate them. Just now, I used my power of deduction and tried to divine it, but I couldn't get any results. I don't know who launched the assassination or who saved us later on, Gu Yixian said with a slight frown. In that case, the martial arts of both sides are much higher than City Lord Gu's. Hong Yu, the mature woman on the side, pondered for a moment and said, "If I'm not wrong, this matter must have something to do with Long Yu. Although we haven't seen Long Yu for a long time, I don't think our heavenly mandate city would provoke an existence of this level other than Long Yu." Hong Yu was now the premier of the City Lord's office with her late-stage Emperor realm cultivation. She was in charge of all the specific affairs in the city. Regardless, it's fortunate that we didn't suffer any losses this time. However, we must be careful in our next actions. I will arrange for a team of Emperor Realm City guards to patrol the city and only target the suspicious characters. The commander of the city guards, Chihua, a late-stage Emperor Realm cultivator, said solemnly. Chihua and Man Xian were respectively the commander and deputy commander of the city guards. Although they were only late-stage Emperor Realm cultivators, their true strength allowed them to fight against an early-stage Emperor Realm cultivator. They could even hold their ground against a middle-stage Emperor Realm cultivator for a while. Chihua had already fused with the heavenly fire true spirit, becoming the source of his inner world. Man Xian, on the other hand, had obtained the inheritance of the stormy demon saber. Now that he and the stormy demon saber had reached the soul fuse level, the power he could unleash from the stormy demon saber had become even stronger. Furthermore, Man Xian had also unlocked another layer of seal on the stormy demonic saber, turning it into a top-grade ancient rank combat weapon. To Man Xian, this could be said to be a great transformation. That's right. Arrange enough people to ensure that everyone is safe. Gu Yixian nodded and swept his gaze across the crowd. He looked at the injured members and ordered, "Those who are injured, take care of yourselves first. We will have to rely on Miss Liao's pills if we want to survive the Dark Moon Cataclysm." Liao Lele nodded, then took out some healing pills and distributed them to the injured. Chapter 994. While Gu Yixian and the others were in the City Lord's mansion discussing the countermeasures, Long Yu had already begun to search for the culprit behind the scenes. First, he found the place where the continuous, rhythmic sounds of thunder came from when the assassination began, and found that it was just an ordinary building. There were hundreds of these watchtowers in the Heavenly Mandate City. The watchtower that was guarding this one of the mid-stage King Realm City Guards in the watchtower had died. When Long Yu arrived, he only saw this city guard. From the corpses in the watchtower, it seemed that someone else had come here and killed this city guard. Then, the sound of thunder from the watchtower was the signal for the assassins in black to begin their attack. If it was before Long Yu stepped into the Emperor realm, he would have no way to deal with this situation. But now that he was in the mid-stage of the Emperor realm, he had a certain degree of understanding of the power of deduction. Moreover, because of the Mark of 9 Serenities, he could borrow the power of the Realm of 9 Serenities for a short period of time to increase his power of deduction. Things that ordinary people could not deduce, Long Yu might be able to deduce. However, it was Long Yu's first time using his powers of deduction to capture the culprit behind the scenes. He hid himself and found a secluded corner in Heavenly Mandate City. Then, he began his deductions. At this moment, there were only 10 breaths of time left since the assassination began. The closer he was, the more likely it was that he could deduce the result. Realm of 9 Serenities. Deduction. Long Yu activated the Mark of 9 Serenities in his body and at the same time used his own power of deduction. Suddenly, the tyrannical power of the Realm of 9 Serenities gathered and increased Long Yu's power of deduction several times. Long Yu was already in the mid-stage of the Emperor realm. Now that his power of deduction was increased by 3 to 5 times, his power of deduction reached the level of the late stage or even the peak of the Emperor realm. But this wasn't enough. Long Yu found that when he wanted to use this level of deduction to deduce the real culprit behind this operation, he couldn't find any traces of the culprit. I've already grasped 15% of the 9 nether mark. Previously, I didn't push it to the limit. But now, since someone wants to touch my brothers and friends, how can I still hold back? Long Yu clenched his teeth, and the power of the netherworld divine characters in his body completely enveloped the netherworld mark. He urged the netherworld mark to further absorb the energy from all over the netherworld realm, and then strengthen Long Yu's deduction ability. Long Yu's deduction power increased by 5 times again. This space tunnel led directly to the holy city of the 5 emperors, which was also where Ji Bai was now. This was Long Yu's greatest skill after mastering the mark of the 9 serenities. As long as he was in the 9 serenities realm, he could teleport faster than anyone else. It should be noted that the space tunnel he created could allow him to travel thousands of miles in an instant. Even from one end of the Shenwu world to the other end, it was only a step's distance. Long Yu stepped into the space tunnel. This step crossed thousands of miles, allowing him to step into the center of the holy city of the 5 emperors. The scene in front of Long Yu suddenly changed from the heavenly mandate city to the holy city of the 5 emperors. Long Yu was quite familiar with the holy city of the 5 emperors. After the Dark Moon Cataclysm, the overall atmosphere in the holy city of the 5 emperors had become as solemn as the heavenly mandate city. The alliance of 5 emperors and the cultivators of various forces were guarding the holy city of the 5 emperors, fighting against the constantly reviving ancient souls of the dead. The third direct disciple of Lei Emperor, Ji Bai, seemed to have just teleported back to the Sacred Tower. He wanted to leave the Sacred Tower, but he felt that someone had deduced the result, so he wanted to go back to the Sacred Tower to hide. After all, Ji Bai didn't know who was deducing him. He only knew that his whereabouts and position had been exposed, so the best way was to hide in the Sacred Tower. The Sacred Tower was built by the Lushan clan, a force from beyond the heavens. It was indestructible, and hiding in it could be said to be 100% safe. Unfortunately, he didn't have this opportunity. Long Yu crossed thousands of miles with one step and appeared directly in front of Ji Bai. He still looked like a middle-aged man. For Ji Bai, this appearance was extremely unfamiliar, and the aura of Long Yu was also something he had never seen before. "What do you want?" Ji Bai's face darkened. He found that the person who appeared in front of him was only in the middle stage of the Emperor realm. This made him feel a little relieved. Even if they fought, the other party would not be a match for him. However, before Ji Bai could react, 2 sharp blades seemed to have appeared in his body, directly destroying his dantian and meridians. Air-splitting kill. Minor accomplishment. After the massacre in the Heavenly Mandate City, Long Yu's air-splitting kill had finally been upgraded to the minor accomplishment realm. Its power and speed had doubled, and its killing ability was even more terrifying. Duankong's Sacred Spring. Kill. A blue stream of water quietly condensed into a sharp blade and appeared in Ji Bai's body, cutting his dantian and meridians into pieces. Of course, as a cultivator at the peak of the Emperor realm and a personal disciple of Lei Emperor, Ji Bai would not be killed so easily. But then, Long Yu raised his hand and displayed the 3rd grade divine formation, 9 Abyss. 9 pitch-black cracks, before Ji Bai could react, came crashing down on Ji Bai. Violent Thundernet. Ji Bai raised his hand and shouted. Violent thunder divine characters rumbled all over his body, like the roar of the heavens, forming a lightning net, blocking the 9 pitch-black cracks. This was a royal magic that he had mastered, and it was also his strongest defense. Any power of the divine characters that came into contact with the violent thundernet would be devoured. With regards to this move, Ji Bai was very confident. How dare you break into the holy city of the 5 emperors and attack me, a personal disciple of Lei Emperor? You're dead. Jibai's eyes were filled with joy. He only needed to block this move. Then the other cultivators in the holy city of the five emperors would arrive soon. One had to know that this was the holy city of the five emperors. As a personal disciple of Lei Emperor, he was actually attacked in the holy city of the five emperors. Once the nearby cultivators sensed it, they would definitely come to help him. The person in front of him would definitely not be able to escape. Although I don't know if there's anyone else behind you, since I have deduced that it is you, then you shall die. The middle-aged man that Long Yu had transformed into had a gloomy expression. As he spoke, the 9 pitch-black cracks instantly spread to the other party's violent thundernet. The Divine Matrix 9 Abyss was a third-grade Divine Matrix. It was like 9 chains stretching out from hell, instantly suppressing the violent thundernet. The evil aura exploded, and the power of the 9 levels of hell came crashing down. The thundernet could only block one of the pitch-black cracks, and then it was completely shattered, losing any defensive ability. Under the remaining thundernet, the remaining 8 pitch-black cracks arrived in an instant. Before Jibai could react, he was directly smashed into pieces. Jibai still had a look of disbelief on his face. He did not believe that he would die just like that. The key was that he died in such a mysterious way. Who was the one who killed him? He did not know. Why did the other party want to kill him? Was it him that was deduced? Could it be that this person was an ally of the Heavenly Mandate City? Moreover, the power that this person displayed was so eerie and strange. Could it be related to Long Yu, who had disappeared for a long time? No matter what, Jibai could not understand these questions. Because when the Divine Matrix 9 Abyss descended on him, his life had been completely cut off. However, at this moment, several shouts came from all around. "Thief, stop! How dare you!" That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.